What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode of the Daily Grind. I don't know why my camera does this. Every day we fix it, and every day it stays the same. It's amazing. Like, what's happening? Come on. No, it's a little more orange today. Don't know why it does it, but it does it. What's going on, chat? I'll be a little more orange today. Why not? Let's be a little bit more orange. On today's show, we're going to be talking about The Last Flag. We're going to be talking about Space Marines, and we're going to be talking about Marathon. We have 3 stories, as we always do here on Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We're going to go. That makes me look green. What about if I do automatic? And that makes me look, oh my God, what's happening? Whatever. We'll just keep it as is. What's going on, chat? What's going on, Sarge? What's going on, Eclipse? Ashraf, good morning. Who am I missing here? Scrolling down. We've got Jesse Mack, good morning. Jason Marshall, what's going on? Pone, what's going on? Just enough. How's it going? Hope you guys all had a wonderful weekend. What's going on, Hero? This weekend, I played a lot of... My son wanted to play... I didn't get to play the Star Wars Galactic on Fortnite, but we played that Droid Factory thing. Let me tell you. It's terrible, but also good. I'll be honest. It's terrible and also good. Okay? All you do... Okay? It's like collecting Pokemon cards. It really is. Okay? So, like... The Sandcrawler is in the center of the board, okay? Around the board, there's a whole bunch of like little activities to do. You can get a droid with you, go to one of the crash sites around the thing, fix it, get a reward, so on and so forth, right? There's like these little things you can pick up to get multipliers that you can do as well. There's guns that you can unlock because as you are trying to get the droids, you're fighting other guys, sort of like Bed Wars, you know what I mean? Or you can go in your own private server. So we played public in the beginning, and as you're buying stuff off of the conveyor belt, like someone can steal it from you, but they have to purchase it. So it doesn't really make sense to kill somebody to stop them from doing the thing. But anyway, the grind, okay, the grind is because every card that goes around has a variable, right? It could be like common, it could be rainbow, it could be gold, diamond, and there's like these different scales. So as the things are like going by, maybe I can get a video of this real fast. Hold on, so we can Fortnite Droid Tycoon. Right? So we played this a lot, me and my son. And it was funny because we were like, here, I'll show you a picture. So as these things are going to buy on the conveyor belt, you can see like default common, gold rare, and you have to collect them like in a little book type of thing. And you can see like this one costs 480,000 and it does 108 per second, meaning it's getting money 108 dollars per second. Okay, so you want to try to get the highest variable as possible, right? So you're by the droid, you put it in your factory, you got to build it, you got to hit it, build it. You can speed up the process by building. You can have a droid that helps you build it as well. It gives you like bonuses and whatnot, right? And this is the whole thing. You're just building it up, upgrading your base. It's called like rebirth or whatever. So you have to get certain amount of three certain droids and the money, and then you get a rebirth, and your base expands. And you keep doing this over and over and over and over. And it's grindy as hell. But at the same time, it's fun because, again, it's like the Magic the Gathering, Pokemon. It's that dopamine hit in your head that I need this robot to do this thing. So you're waiting for it to happen around the conveyor belt. And the odds for some of these things are astronomical, no pun intended, okay? So that's what I played a lot this weekend with my son. that, and we won a couple more rounds in Fortnite as well. But yeah, it's not great, but it's not terrible. It's not terrible. And then we also played the Darth Vader where he comes and murders you. This is, I wish there was more to it. So the Darth Vader one is that you have a crew of 4. You're on a derelict Star Destroyer, and you have to try to find these power cores on the actual thing, right? So 4 guys, and you can't run. There's no running. Once you pick up that power cell, you have to walk slow. Once you insert the first power cell into the derelict Star Destroyer, the door opens up and Darth Vader comes through. The Darth Vader is an NPC. Stormtroopers start coming on the ship. Okay, so you have to try to coordinate with the 4 people. Good luck to you if you're playing with randos. To find the power cells. Now, the problem is you can only find 2 power cells before the other side opens. So you have to fight Darth Vader. But the best part is, if you take both cells, get them at the same time, you can't, like, stall because there's, like, a timer on it also to blow up, and you fail. So you have to put them in the exact same time. That way you have 2 done instead of put 1 in, try to get the other one while Darth Vader's chasing you. Darth Vader comes on, and it's pretty cool. He's running around, and all you hear him just breathing. And he comes after you. You have to try to outrun him. He walks super slow. It's sort of like Jason Voorhees, chasing you with an axe, but he's chasing you with a lightsaber. So there's that as well, right? So that was pretty interesting. Repetitive. I wish there was sort of, and maybe there is, maybe we didn't play it long enough. I wish there was different boards. And then I also wish there was, like, once you do it a couple times, maybe you upgrade, maybe you walk a little faster, maybe you do a little bit of, I don't know, you can hide, something. I mean, there are paths you can hide. There are vents you can shoot to stop him from getting you and whatnot, like blockade. Again, like the article we read last week, it's good, it's not great, right? It's good, it's not great. So we played that as well. I haven't played the Galactic one. I was going to probably play it this afternoon. But for overall, the Droid Tycoon, it's a Tycoon game. It's pretty good. And then the Darth Vader one, again, fun for a couple times, but it gets boring pretty fast. So there you go. What's going on, Water? All turn. Oh, and Friday, we did a early stream. Obviously, if you're here, you know about it. We did an extra stream on Friday. If you guys want, again, to do a Friday stream, 10 super chats throughout the week, and we'll do an extra Friday stream. And then we did a extra stream for VR, which I'm going to try to do again. I think I figured it out. I had to reboot the system, and now it's accepting a charge now when it's plugged in. So I think we're good there. All right. The Daily Grind is a show that we do Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you like to go above and beyond that, become a member. The title or the thumbnail for the show has the main show, the title that we're going to do, and then we'll talk about other stories as well. So the first story that we're going to talk about today is The Last Flag. Okay, The Last Flag is yet another shooter, PvP shooter that came out and just got destroyed. Okay, now again, not many people are talking about it. Let's see, Last Flag Steam charts, just so you can see. Okay, there's 22 people in there right now. One of them's probably Ron. Ron, you're in here for 22, 51 peak and 558. It's been out for about 3 weeks, right? Came out on Tuesday, April 14th, and today is May 4th, right? Today is May 4th. So The Last Flag is the latest multiplayer shooter to fail within weeks. Now, you got to remember, this is not about people hating it because of sexist, racist, misogynistic things. This is that the landscape of gaming has completely changed, where more people are going towards single-player games again, co-op games again, but not PvP shooter type of games. Yes, this is not your traditional PvP shooter, but it is nonetheless a shooter, okay? So Last Flag is the latest multiplayer shooter to fail within weeks. It says The Last Flag, okay, The Last Flag online shooter from Night Street Games. I don't like those advertisements over there. From Night Street Games is a company co-created by frontman of Imagine Dragons, is on ropes, and it isn't getting back up. It's in a recent heartfelt message, the team at Night Street confirmed that the CTF-inspired shooter failed to find an audience on Steam and will receive no further updates beyond what's already promised to come. Okay, it says they stressed that the game isn't necessarily going anywhere. It won't receive any more support. Instead, the final update with no confirmed date will bring custom lobbies with amenable rules so those that still want to play Last Flag can jump in and experiment with the platform. Now, Last Flag raises the white flag. One statement on Discord, Mac Reynolds, brother of Imagine Dragons lead Daniel Reynolds, wrote, he says, if you've been following the Steam charts, you already know that the Last Flag has been unable to find an audience. It needs to give all of you experience you deserve. But that doesn't mean we're about to throw in the towel. Now, I just want to make it a point here. Now, obviously, him bringing up and saying, if you've been following the Steam charts, you already know. Obviously, remember that a couple months ago when like Steam charts are not all, it doesn't say all the thing. Well, obviously, they know it does. That's why he's saying you already know. Now, the financial reality of the situation means that we're unlikely to be able to support additional development beyond some upcoming patches, meaning they already paid for it. This is a good insight of what's happening with the game, right? They had a budget. They know how long they can last for. Obviously, they got it out the door. When they brought in money, they could keep supporting it, keep updating the stuff, but there is no support. Like, there is no more support because they're like, all right, this is the money that we got. We didn't get any more to come in. We tried what we needed to do, and that's it, right? However, the game will not be shutting down, and we hope that these days bring you more value and control. Some of the things you can also look forward to in the next few months, including our 10th character, a new map, a brand new game mode, cosmetics, leaderboards, and much more. Okay, he says, Mac went on to explain that Last Flag now belongs to the players, and they hope they still stay alive in one form or another years to come. Now, this is interesting, right? This is interesting because listen to those words again, right? He went on to says that it belongs to the players now, meaning it didn't do well. I don't think it'll ever do well. But basically what he's saying is it's going to stay alive. It's going to be out there for years to come, regardless if it was successful or not. If you want to play it, maybe there'll be some sort of community. Maybe it'll build up months and years down the road. Maybe it gets picked up by a streamer and does a stream, and all of a sudden it becomes like Among Us years later. Who knows, right? But Night Street Games is something, it says it's coming. It says Last Flag hit the mark on April 14th after 5 years of development, but it failed to gather any meaningful traction on Steam, and the player count dwindled remarkably quickly, even with the promotional campaign that included millions of followers across the Imagine Dragons social network. Well, this right here, look, you could be a celebrity. You could be a celebrity. You could be on one of the bigger bands that's ever been, right? You could be a rock star, but that doesn't transfer to the other thing, right? Reynolds might be a huge gamer, right? Great musician, right? Very successful. You can say if you like him or not. Very successful as Imagine Dragons, hence why he can make a video game. But yeah, this doesn't look good, right? This doesn't look good. So Last Flag didn't launch as a free-to-play game live service shooter. This was addressed directly by Mac, who explained the team wanted to offer a complete game experience at the affordable price. Without the microtransactions or battle passes, they didn't want to try to fighting with the scope and scale of AAA shooter space, so they tried to pivot far away from that model. Instead, the Last Flag entered a space with the low price point of just $14.99, and that barrier, however small, might have been enough to hamper the game's growth out of the gate, which is crazy to me, right? Because it is only $14.99. It's not that I'm not interested in the price. I'm not interested in the game, personally. Right, so the Last Flag now follows in the footsteps of likes of Highguard, Concord, The Cube. What's going on, Ward? Thank you very much. Is it not going to... Did it not make the noise? Oh, what the hell? Let me see. No. Doesn't want to speak today. Well, I got to figure that out. We'll figure that out in just a second. right? So the last flag follows in the footsteps of the likes of Concord the Cube, and which also flattered immediately after launch. Okay, so did you find the time to give last flag a try? No, I did not. Warhop, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. I don't know why the audio is not working. Let's try something here real fast while trying to figure that out. Let's see. Let's reboot the system. Give me 1 second, chat. We can't have stuff not working when people are spending money. Why is that not working? All right. What about... Can you guys hear this?
I absolutely love eating beans on toast while walking in the park with gray skies.
That worked. How come that didn't come through? Interesting. All right. Well, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. Regardless. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. Waterbear says tagged in general. Oh, what just happened? What just happened? I can't get back to my... Oh, God. What happened? Okay. I gotta reset. I gotta reset chat. Chat just froze. Give me 1 second, chat. I can't see you. All right. Water says tags in general. Chat for a quick trailer. Old school Golden Axe style game. All right. Let me see what it is. Let's see what it is. Water sent me a Golden Axe type of game. Mad King Redemption.
When business slowed, Hank asked Copilot in Excel how to help bring back the $1
God's
slice.
sakes. I don't have...
Suddenly, Hank says, you gotta try this.
I don't have a Prime anymore. Or YouTube Premium, whatever.
You think you can win? You think you're a hero? Your hands are stained with blood. Your soul tainted by sin.
Come on, mate. This is the big one.
It's like Gauntlet. Well, sorry, it's a beat 'em up, but it reminds me of like a Gauntlet. 4-player. Old school. How's the He-Man one doing that came out? It's very, very old school. Did it have an update? It might. I don't know. Did it last longer than Concord? It did. It did last longer than Concord. Waterbear asks. It's still up. It's still running. What's going on, Argus? Good morning. Well, I want to see if it picks up one of the other ones from like a couple days ago, real quick. No, it's not picking that up either. So weird. Why doesn't stuff want to work? It's very hard when you can't get shit to work, huh? Thing's called ground control, and it's still. Nope. For whatever reason, it doesn't want to. It doesn't want to like. You know, it could be as simple as me rebooting the system, which I can't do right now. So, appreciate the super chats anyway. So, last flag. Going back to last flag. When you look at a lot of the games, like what happened to Wayfinder, and what happened to Crimson Desert, and what happened to what was the other game that were all like multiplayer? Oh, Windrose, right? They were all like these multiplayer games, multiplayer online MMOs, really. But somewhere along the line, they switched and made them into single-player games, right? If you look at what people are playing more now, is single-player co-op games, right? They always tell you, like, oh, no one likes JRPGs. And then Expedition 33 comes out, and it does well. People are like, they don't like open-world games. And then multiple open-world games come out, and they do very well. Right? They're like, nobody's playing single-player games anymore, and then all of a sudden people play single-player games again, right? It's like whatever the main industry tells you that's happening, do the opposite, okay? Everyone's like, oh, yeah, everyone loves extractions, and everyone loves these PvP games and shooters, and yet week after week, month after month, they just keep failing. Another one. Put another shrimp on the Barbie, okay? There's so many PvP games, so many co-op. Well, not co-op, but like hero shooters that fail. But they'll look at Marvel Rivals and say, well, that succeeded. Yeah, that succeeded and is succeeding because Marvel is, as a brand, might be hurting in the movie industry, but Marvel as a brand has been around for almost 90 years. Last Flag's been around for 90 days. Not even. Right? High Guard, 0. Concord, 0. These people are trying to put the cart before the horse to try to force you and go, oh, this would be awesome. Now, don't get me wrong. If these games came out, let's say High Guard, Concord, Last Flag, Marathon, whatever, came out and it was like a Marvel-based game, would it succeed? Probably not either. But it also might. It might last. Right? It might have a shot because it has a brand behind it that people love. Like, for instance, the game we just watched, right? The game that we just saw that Water said, take a look at, right? If that was Lord of the Rings based, like you're the characters of Lord of the Rings on the old school game, just a beat 'em up, probably more interest would be in it. Why? Because people like Lord of the Rings. Right? When you come out with these generic characters, when you come out with this brand of just whatever, people look at it and are like, yeah, no, this is not appealing to me whatsoever. Morning, Wonder Rose. Argus says, unfortunately, ads are my mortal enemy. I consume YouTube all day, every day. So I just pay, or I just must have YouTube Premium. Well, I'll tell you what, I might pay for it again. I've had it for less than 5 days without it, and I'm dying. But make the problem, sell the solution, right? Alter says, Wayfinder, Crimson Desert, Windrose, those are all what we know. Off, imagine how many behind the scenes. Well, there are more that we know. I mean, let's be honest. Hogwarts Legacy seemed like it had some multiplayer stuff before they made it into a single-player game. Gotham Knights was a live service game before they switched it over, right? A lot of games that we thought of that seemed like there was something fishy with it switched and made a good call. Eclipse says, for a game that cheap, we should also have just made the server peer-to-peer, and people would have bought it and played it. Not whatever you don't spend any extra money. Argus says, I'm saying this new Lego Batman game is going to have a terrible optimization, most likely due to the Unreal Engine 5 use unwillingness to optimize or both. Yeah, I saw that a lot of people were talking about the optimization of that game. Guess I won't get it when it comes out. I read the 1963 Amazing Spider-Man comic book. Rogue says the corporos love them because they can make more money, and try to shove them down the throats. And this is just also having anything to do with them now. Well, another thing is they're not supposed to cost as much as a single player game that takes 5 to 7 years to make, right? Like think about this, right? If we don't know about this, or if anyone doesn't know about this, Fortnite was 7 to 8 years in development to make the Save the World Fortnite. 7 to 8 years making Save the World Fortnite. It failed. It bombed in 3 months, less than that. Okay, it was dead literally on arrival as far as user base. Very few people were playing it. They shifted from that to Battle Royale. Battle Royale didn't take them 7, 8 years to make. It took them 3 months to put it out. And then it was in beta for 3 years afterwards. But they put minimal viable product, put it out there, and just evolved it over time. And it was making bank. It made so much money for Epic that they won the lottery, basically. They won the lottery, right? And that's the difference why companies want to make multiplayer games. They're like, oh, did you see what Epic did? Regardless about PUBG, Fortnite switched from a single-player co-op game, failed, to a stole Battle Royale from PUBG, and all of a sudden, they're making trillions of dollars. Trillions. Ultron says, then we have Suicide Squad from being a single-player game to a live service, PvE. Poet says, happy May 4th, everyone. Hope you're all doing something with Star Wars today. There's supposed to be Star Wars news later on, right? They're going to announce some stuff. Maybe it'll announce some stuff while we're here this morning doing things. I watched a show last night, live show, for WDW Pro, and they were talking about a rumor, which we'll probably talk about later in the show, about Star Wars. So, Argus says that DLSS frame generation to hit 1080p 30 frames on average rigs for the Lego game. What are we doing? What are we doing out here? Oh wait, so DLSS frame generation hit a 1080p 30 frames on average rigs for a Lego game. What are we doing out here? So the Unreal Engine is just not optimized. So there you go. Everyone's going to adopt the Unreal Engine, and yet all games are going to be unoptimized. Fantastic. What's going on, Ghost Wolf? Here's my Star Wars for the day. There you go. I got Star Wars Day. We've got Star Wars mug. Is it really your birthday, Altered? May 4th is your birthday? No, happy birthday. Happy birthday to Altered. I used to have a back in the day. I used to have a birthday song. Maybe I'll make a new birthday song now that we have we can make songs. Sarge says, not optimized, you don't say. Argus says everything runs like shit and looks the same. Game on Unreal Engine 5. It's not a hero if it don't try to portray itself as, unfortunately. Well, wait till you hear what the rumor is and how it got not started, but how it all came through, right? We'll go over that later. Next, let's go over everyone's favorite live service game that's not a live service game said by the actual devs, right? And this irks me because the game is phenomenal. The game is phenomenal, and it's not a live service, but it is a live service, okay, which is Space Marines, okay? Space Marines 2, Warhammer 40,000, Space Marines 2 has done so well, the live support has been officially extended into a third year. Now, remember, this wasn't a live service game, but the live support has been now officially extended to the third year because it's doing so well. Now, game came out. I did not buy it. I didn't like the business model, okay, where you get the game and then you have to wait for other things to come out to the game after you paid full price for the game. But now, 14 months after it came out, me and Sarge played it, And it's a phenomenal game. It is. The single player aspect of it is great, right? There's no problems with the actual game. The game runs fantastic. I don't like the business model because here we are, okay? Again, still waiting for more content to come into the game where they could have put as much stuff in the game and just waited. They could have waited an extra 14 months and put the extra character and the extra thing in, right? They could have sold it as DLC. I know a lot of people don't like to buy DLC, but they like to buy $25 microtransaction skins, right? If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Warhammer 40K, Space Marines 2 has done so well, live support has been officially extended into third year. So Warhammer 40K, Space Marines 2 live support has officially extended into its third year. Publisher Focus Entertainment has announced. The news comes after the explosive third-person action game hit hugely impressive 12 million players. Me and Sarge were players. We didn't buy it. Maybe Sarge bought it afterwards. 2 years after 2024. Now, lately, updates have been very well received by the community, which also motivates us to keep the momentum for the third year, Focus said in a community post. Now, the breakout success for Space Marines 2, set to grimdark universe of the Games Workshop tabletop war game, cannot be understood. Tim Welt's development chief developer, Saber Interactive, told IGN soon after the game came out that Space Marines 2 had changed everything for the studio, as sales exploded, and they also increased at the steady pace since. Space Marine 2, recent addition to the subscription service, PlayStation Plus and Xbox Game Pass, has only boosted the player numbers further. It wasn't long after Space Marines 2 came out and Space Marines 3 was announced, although it is yet to see or hear anything meaningful about it. The announcement of Year 3 of Space Marines 2, however, means content that didn't make it into Year 2 will roll over and remain free. Now, obviously, the stuff that was supposed to get into 2 didn't get into 2, right? And they now pushed it over to 3. Now, I know this is like a weird spot. It's like, well, you didn't pay for it, but you did, because that content, if it wasn't a live service game, that's not a live service game, right? If it wasn't a live service game, all of this content would have been worked on before the game came out. So let's say the game didn't come out in 2024 and it did come out in 2026, then all of this stuff would be worked on and then pushed forward into the actual game. But now, because the game is doing very well, and they're like, well, we have to make more content now because we didn't know it was going to make this much money. So now they have to extend the life of the game. Well, because of extending the life of the game, they have to stretch out the 2 and now into 3, which, again, this is why I didn't like the business model. He says, we're really excited about what's coming, and we think that you will too, Focus Taste. He says, the new update Year 2 roadmap includes the addition of Salamander's Champion Pack 2, War Gear rework, and also will let players use class-specific war gear on other classes. This means, for example, capes and iron halos can be used on tactical classes. Patch 13 will be added to those caps and iron halos, and Patch 14 will add tabards and robes, which also a full bulwark robe. However, there are so many lore restrictions. Sniper, for example, can't equip an iron halo. Coming in Patch 13 and under Ultra Grind, ordeals part of the Trials of Resolve are in the unlock system for new items. Focus warns these in particular are hard to achieve and are designed to present a long-term grind. Each ordeal will have up to 3 difficulty tiers. Some will require you to complete in operations 100 times or slaying 3 majors of higher enemies within a single headshot on an absolute difficulty. Yikes. Also coming to Patch 13, it's perk loadout, one of the most requested quality of life features. This means players will have to come up with 3 perks loadouts in similar way of what already exists for the weapons, for easier selection and less menu navigation. It says helpful that the Battle Barge is also getting a practice arena, only available in solo. This will let you test your weapons and enemies in your choice in any difficulty. There's also even a display showing the total damage dealt and your damage per second. Players have also been calling for this for some time now, so it's a welcome addition. Patch 13 is due out by the end of June, and Patch 14 is due at the end of September. That takes us to now the end of Year 2 into Space Marines support, right? So it's doing so well. We showed this last week. It's doing so well. So there's the Patch 13, which comes out at the end of June, and then comes out at the end of September over here, right? And I get it, right? The season passes, these are all cosmetic stuff, and if you want to buy it, you can buy that, and all the content that's coming in the game is free, which is fine, right? And again, I'm okay with it but I'm okay paying for your expansions as well, right? I'm okay just spending money. Like if I like the game, I bought the game, put as much content as you want in the game, and then for your expansions, like I would be okay if you put all of this in a paid DLC. If this was $20, $25, and you had all of this and you put it in one lump sum, so let's say instead of February and then this and then this, the problem with, and again, this is not a Space Marines problem. This is not a, Focus Entertainment. Okay. This is a industry-wide problem. And again, this is just my thoughts. Okay. You guys like what you like. But when everything is always getting updated, right? Let's just say that Space Marines gets updated this week, and I'm playing Space Marines, then Fortnite gets updated next week, and then the Marvel games get updated next week, and then Destiny gets updated, then Marvel gets updated, then Windrose gets updated, and then Crimson gets... It's like all of these games, a live service game sounds great, but when everything's a fucking live service game, and everyone's making updates, single players are making updates, multiplayer is making updates, MMOs are making updates, it gets so exhausting. Okay, it gets so exhausting because it's just like one after another. Instead of just playing a game, beating that game, putting that game down after you're done playing it, however long that is, if it's 1,000 hours, if it's 200 hours, if it's 10 hours, and then moving on to the next one. We're just constantly bombarded by update after update after update after update. And it just kind of gets, you're just kind of like, I don't want to play anymore, right? Division, Destiny, Warframe, Soulframe, right? They're all coming. They're all going to keep them here. They're going to keep updating. No Man's Sky. Everything's a goddamn live service game. Hence why people are like, you know what? I'm gonna play some single-player games. I'm going to play some single-player games, and then when I'm done with the single-player game, I'm going to stop playing the single-player game. It's like you just need a breather. You just need that moment of time. You're just like... I just want quiet. I just want quiet. I don't want a checklist. I don't want a thing to come back and go, oh, yeah, mark it on my calendar, right? I want to mark a calendar for new games. I don't want to mark a calendar for a game that's 2 years old with no paid DLC. It's just, oh, this is an update that comes out. But that's just me, right? That's just me. But these are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you guys think, right? Again, this is not a Space Marines problem. I have no problem with Space Marines. I think Space Marines 2 is a fantastic game. I have a problem with the business model of Space Marines. I have a problem with live service games that they just constantly don't put stuff in the game because they want to kind of stretch it out like Play-Doh. You know what I mean? They want to try to stretch it out as much as possible. And when you play that Play-Doh and you pull it out, and it's nice and thick, and then all of a sudden, you keep pulling, and it gets real thin, right? That's a great example or great analogy for what happens with video game businesses, right? You got this Play-Doh, and it's this nice Play-Doh. You just bought the Play-Doh, but then you start trying to stretch it out, right? Try to stretch it out and make it even, but it's not even, right? It's thicker at the top, and then it starts to get thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner until it breaks. And that is live service games. You hear story after story that we go over every single week. Companies can't keep up with it. Have to let people go, can't keep up with the content. Content comes out, it's broke or buggy. It's missing features, missing content. And even when they put it in the game, right, it's still not ready. And you have to wait for the next patch. And then you have to wait for the roadmap. So you're paying for the game up front. Then you're waiting for the game to get updated. And then it doesn't get updated. Then you're waiting for the quality of life to fix the thing. And then you're waiting for the next DLC. And it's just so on, so forth. It just gets kind of, it aggravates me. But it probably doesn't aggravate you guys. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some other videos. Thanks for watching. What's going on, Mr. Z? Sarge says, okay, it's okay. Sell me content if you sold me a complete game. It's all about the comeback and engagement. Yeah, and it just kind of gets kind of, I don't know, I lose interest in it. But that's anything, right? But live service gets me faster. You would think it would last longer, but I see the wizard faster. Jesse Mack says it's going to be so much good news in June. Space Marines 2's new update and Marathon are set to, etc. Let's go on, Roadkill. Aku says 30 new updates. Keep up. Got to play them all. I know, but it's like so. it's like you're sitting at home doing nothing, right? You're sitting at home doing nothing. You're like, I get to finally relax. And someone's like, hey, can you do this? And you're like, oh, okay. And you go help them. And you're like, oh, by the way, can you do this? And you're like, okay. And then someone's like, can you really help me with this? And you get pulled like 8 different directions. That's what it feels like with playing video games now. Brain says, it makes me mad at saying that 3Y announce is just a work on the damn game and then do it. Altern says title Boomer is upset about games getting updated. That's right. But that's out of context, though, right? That's out of context because you got to say first of all, not Boomer, Gen Xer upset at games getting updated when all games are getting updated. When all games are getting updated, I don't have enough time to check out all the games that they told me to play. Hero says probably cheaper to play a gacha game at this point. You know, you're probably not wrong. Roic says at some point the saturation of live service games cannibalizes each other. Right, Roic. And I'm at that point. Right? At before it was so many games, which is still a problem. There's so many games to play, not enough time. But now I have the games I have plus the new games, and then all the old games that we've been playing are updating. So it's like you don't get to put stuff down. You don't get to put stuff down to try other things. What happens is you get to get the stuff you get, then you get more stuff, and then you get more stuff, and you don't have time to play. Historically, DLC don't sell as well quarterly updates with shop battle passes refresh. I would like to go back to the old way of Pwn where, and I get what you're saying. If you take the last 7 years, of course you're going to say battle passes sell better than DLCs. But before, when there was no live service stuff and it was just games and DLCs, that's completely different. If you're comparing it, the live service, and go, oh, well, they make more money off of the battle passes and microtransactions that do DLC. Well, of course, but they still made profit with the DLC. They still sold the DLC. It's just that they could do less now and make more money, which is why we call it minimum viable product. And if they don't finish it, they just move it over to the next patch, right? Like for instance, again, I'm only using this as an example. I'm not saying that these guys are doing it, but if patch 11, right, or here, patch 12, right, the new PvE mission, let's say the new PvE mission wasn't ready yet, right? It's on the battle pass. It's not ready yet, or the roadmap. So new PvE mission's not ready yet. They're like, oh, and they just move it over to patch 13. And if it's not ready at patch 13, they just move it to patch 14. Instead of just finishing it and putting it out there. Clip says, today I'm going to be playing some Battlefield 2. Battlefield 2 or Battlefront 2? Battlefield 2 on the Kyber server. And they got the new update with the new heroes and weapons. Battlefront. Okay, gotcha. It is Battlefront. I was like, I thought you were talking about Star Wars. Just Enough says, hey, why be accurate when you can make headlines? August says, play a little Nikki Goddess on Victory Gotcha with the ass cheeks flapping in the wind. It's usually not my thing. I don't like gotcha games. I did try Genshin Impact back in the day, and I was just like, nah, I'm good. Very impressive, though, for a free-to-play game. Let's see here. Mr. G says, I purposely do not play day, no play day, if I'm not interested in my main games. If I search for something every day, I start to think everything is meh instead of investing in the game I have. That's basically how I do it, Z. Like, when I play a game, I'm like, I'm in it. I'm in it for at least, if I really like it, I'm in it for like 60 to 100 hours, right? Like Crimson Desert, boom, we were in it 165 hours. I stopped. Why? Because I'm in Winrose. Boom, 100 hours or 60 hours right now. Right? I'm in something, I play it. Now, obviously, because I played the Fortnite thing this weekend because my son wanted to play. But he actually said this to me, right? He grinds Fortnite until he gets the battle pass done, and then he doesn't touch it again. He puts it down, and then he plays something else. He plays a whole bunch of other games. Roic says, can I do a battle pass in 3 months versus DLC? That might take 3 or 4 times that long. Sure. But think about this, okay? If Space Marines 2 came out in 2024 and their first DLC doesn't come out until late 2025, but you're waiting for the roadmap and they're putting it out bit by bit, it's the same. It's the same. The only difference is DLC, I'm getting the chunk of it. Where the well, not the PvE, the roadmap is I'm getting just this. So, again, the problem with video games is, and this is why people get burnt out with it, with the way that live service goes. Because you get a chunk of the game, you play the game. So let's say the game takes you 20 to 40 hours, right? Nonstop, you play that game 20 to 40 hours, boom. Then you're waiting. And they're like, oh, here's a piece of meat. So they give you a little treat, and it's just that one game mode they put in. So now everybody's not playing this anymore. They're just playing that one game mode because it's brand new, right? And then the next new thing comes in, and you're only playing that new game mode because you're tired of playing this game mode that you played nonstop for the last 20 hours waiting for the new game mode to come out, right? And it starts to burn the audience because they're like, we need more. We need more content. We need more content. DLC comes out back in the old days is that you had the entire game, you played the entire game, and then they gave you 6 new maps in like a battlefield, right? They gave you more stuff to do. That way, when you play the new DLC, you're playing it for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours because there's more stuff in the actual DLC, not just meal piecing, putting a little breadcrumb trail down. Here's the next one. Here's the next one, right? That's what live service is. Live service is putting a trail of breadcrumbs. Isn't a battle pass just DLC, a smaller percentage? Yes. Yes, it's the worst part. Chopper Eric says FOMO is a heck of a thing. It gets me to a lot of time, but when I do get the thing that they're also selling, it turns out that maybe I could have missed it. Most of the time is you could have missed it. Ron says, anybody want to squat up and last the flag? Eclipse says, yeah, this is why I'm getting tired of live service. It becomes like a job. Right. And if it was just the one game, again, I want to make it clear, right? This is not a Space Marines problem. It's not a Space Marine problem. When you just capsulate it in one thing, it's not a problem. A live service game that you like is not a problem. But it's not one live service game. There's 5, 6, 10, 20, right? And that is the problem. It's like boiling us in the pot as a frog in live service games. You're like, oh, this live service game, again, I've always said, Star Wars live service, Transformers live service, you know what I mean? Or Marvel live service. If it was Destiny, but Marvel, Transformers, or Star Wars, I would be content because that's the thing I like, right? Great. If there was that one game we all just like that game, cool. It's like one game out of 1,000 games. But there's 20 games that come out and they're just constantly giving you stuff. Where if it's just a single player game, if it's just a co-op PvE game, if it's just a whatever game, and you put in 20 hours, like a Resident Evil, you buy it, you play it, you put it down, you move on. Right? You love the game, you play the game, you want to play it again, you can play it again, right? Different style, different kind of build, whatever you want to do, right? And you put it down and you move on to play another game. That's not what these games want. They're like, no, you got to come back and play with me. Come back and play. Come on. We put a new weapon in. We have a new map. We put 2 maps in, but one was broke. So we have one good map. Come on back. Oh, Division. Come on. Then there's the free-to-play games, right? You don't have to actually pay for the game, right? But it's gigantic. You're like, come on. It's free. pick anything you want in my trench coat here. It's all free. Aku says, weird. My YouTube app isn't letting me send super chats. That's weird. I wonder if there's a problem with YouTube, because when Ward put a super chat in, the super chat worked, but the sound didn't go off. But we tested the sound works. So I wonder if it's a YouTube thing. Ray says, what do people want? Play or experience new things nonstop? Did it become TikTok gamers? I personally want to play the game, and I don't want to be TikTok to death. I'm a sit down, watch a video, not sit down, watch 80 videos in the same time frame as one video. I don't watch Instagram. I don't watch TikTok. I don't watch shorts. Do I see one short and go, oh, that's okay? Most of the time, 99.9% of the time, I don't watch shorts or TikTok or any type of thing like that. I mean, I literally do long-form content myself. I like other long-form content. This is why I'm not it's hard for me to put massive hours into games I like. Right? You just put it in. You're like, I like this game, and you put a shit ton of hours into it. I wasn't able to give likes for a full week last month. Awesome. YouTube working really well. It's always good. Thanks, YouTube. YouTube posted something the other day. Let me see where it is. Hold on. Let me open up my profile, because I did a reply to it. Yeah, so this is it got my thing didn't get hit, but YouTube, because they've been hitting people with taking people's channels down for monetization. It says YouTube creators, it says, to the creators who feel like giving up, don't. We see you, right? And it got posted. It said the post drew heavily backlash from creators over AI demonetization, right? So I actually replied to it with, you sit on a throne of lies. Maybe they're punishing me right now. Maybe they're punishing me right now because I did that. 3 million views got hit on for that post that they did. Yeah. Don't give up. Yeah, you're literally demonetizing people on the platform. Argus says, I made my Instagram algorithm is vile. I use it to fuel the group chat with the boys. I don't watch any of that shit. Jesse Mack says, TikTok people want all games chasing their 10s. This is why gaming platform is falling down the cliff. Just Enough says $2. Trump, is this thing on? Yeah, it's not. I don't know why. And I can replay it, and it just doesn't want to do it. It's so weird. I'm trying to see where... You know what? Maybe. No, because that doesn't make sense. Oh, wait a minute. I think I found it. Fucking Windows. I swear to God, Windows. I swear to God.
Is this thing on?
Windows changed my output. So that's working for there. Thank you very much for the $2 super chat. All right, and then we'll go back to Ward.
Good Monday morning, all.
There you go. Right? You pay for it, you got to hear it. Okay? So it's working. Thank you very much for the $2 super chat. And actually, that made me think about it just enough. When you put the $2 in, I was like, maybe YouTube. And I was like, well, no. It was the audio from fucking Windows. Clip says, so badass to be able to play as Starkiller and a Cad Bane for anyone that hasn't used the mod on PC. Should I download it I have it on PC. Should I download it? And I don't have room. I'll be honest. I don't have room. And it would look like shit for streaming anyway. Maybe we'll play some Star Wars Battlefront tonight. It'll be on console, though. He's talking about Battlefront 2 on PC, Argus. All right, the next story we got going on here. The next story we got. Marathon director says team has years-long plans. Years-long plans for stories. Hey, you can have... I have a plan 5 years from now. A lot can happen between now and 5 years from now, but I have a plan. Asha has a plan. Plan's a plan until it's not a plan. Okay, Marathon's director says the team has years-long plans for the story. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay, the plan's the plan. That's right. Bungie still has big plans for Marathon, with one of the game's developers recently stating that there are years-long plans to advance the game's story. This comes at a time when, at least online, there's a discussion about the game's concurrent player count. Oh, I see what you're doing here. Bungie. Right? You're like, we're fighting it. We're not going down. I've said they would last a year. They would last till a year. Sarge says 90 days. Water said 90 days. Okay. People are somewhere in between there and that. Okay. They're just trying to fight it. They're like, you got to put this out there to show kind of the confidence, right? You're trying to put this out there. Sort of like what the Last Flag did. They're like, hey, look, we're giving free weekends away. Well, they only lasted one weekend, and then they're like, yeah, we're done supporting this game for at least now. So Marathon, the extraction shooter, was published by Bungie. Okay, by Bungie and released in March of 2026. The game is playable on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, and there's a concurrently 14,375 concurrent Marathon players on Steam. When was this made? May 3rd, yesterday. Okay, on a Sunday. Even though that's a huge drop in its peak 88,337 Steam players when the game first launched in March, it's clear that the developers have long-term plans for the game. Marathon Dev says stories will evolve over years. Now, during a recent interview with the Games Radar, can I just put a pin in that for a second? Concord had comics and books, and they had a whole plan, and they were shut down in 13 days. They had years of plans as well. I'm just putting that out there, okay? Marathon creative director Julian Narden has asked on how the extraction shooter genre has evolved and the multiplayer gaming landscape. Narden admitted that the team knows where they want to take the story in the near future, but they also have remained flexible because they're part of the magic of live service title, allowing players to wish the trends to shape the game's future. Now, it says, quote, we know where we want to take the story over the next few years, but I don't want to say it's completely locked in because, well, it's important to us that our players will be able to help shape it. Well, I know how that sounds. But the players can also shape it by not playing it. So, for the studio, player input into the narrative is part of the magic of playing a live service game. Is it? Is that why you guys play live service games? Because you can manipulate on where the story goes? I don't play live service to choose my own adventure book. I play role-playing games for that. Right? I don't play live service games with that. I play role-playing games for that when I want to choose my adventure. It says, furthermore, Narden discussed the importance of players being able to jump into the game at any time. She would also say that they want every season of the game to be new entry point for the players. This includes providing players with the opportunity to understand the story so far. Sounds off for the story is all for the official Discord server. Also forgotten. That's it. This is a fluff little advertisement for them, being like, hey, are you on the fence about Marathon? Well, don't worry. You can jump in now and you can help shape the game from season to season. Like, what are we talking about? That's exactly what this is, Pone. That's exactly what this is. Pone says, this reads, we really want you to keep this game alive. Please come back. Right. You guys shape the story. How did you pitch this? Guys, I have an idea for a game. Let's call it Marathon. Oh, like we had before? No, not like the other Marathon that we have with our brand. It's called Marathon. It's a live service game, and we'll just have a little bit of a story, and we'll have the rest of the people that play our game tell us how the game happens and how the story goes. That's genius. Yeah, let's do that. How much do you need for that? 250 million? Oh, let's do it. What? Are they writing the story like Lucasfilm wrote 7, 8, and 9? We'll just film it as we go? Like, what are we talking about? You have years of plans. Great. Again, I have a few. I have in my head right now, I have plans for my future. But like all of a sudden, something happens and that plan shifts and changes. Pone says, I played for 20 hours. I'd rather go to the dentist than load into another match. Maybe you should build that into the story. See, that's where Bungie's so smart. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint to the finish line. It's a marathon. We have stories for years. Now, we've seen how that worked out, Bungie. Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, we've seen the marathon of Destiny. I don't think a lot of people want to see the marathon of Marathon. Argus says they just randomly write things down and the random fever dreams. They're like, this one guy in a match, he did this really cool thing. Let's make. Okay, Argus was playing the game, and he said he wishes. Okay, Pone said it's like going to the dentist. Let's write that in. Dentist. Let's have a mission about a dentist. If he goes up against a dentist, like a big, it'll be cool. Like, what are we talking about? I know it's hard to believe that. I mean, we want to love it, right? We want to love like the Mass Effects and BioWare. We want to love Bungie and the Halo team back in the day, right? Pick the thing about Bethesda. You know, you made these great games in the past, right? We want to love this because when we were younger, we played the Mass Effects from BioWare. We played the Destinies. We played the Bethesda games. We're like, oh my God, these were the greatest games when I was younger. And as we get older, people think we're like skewed or, you know, we're just grouchy old men. But really, we're just disappointed because the companies are not the same anymore, right? The people come in and they think they know better. New developers come in, they want to change the story. Look what they've done. Look what the studios have done to our pictures, our films, TV shows, right? And now they're doing it to video games, right? Mass Effect's not the same, right? Mass Effect's not the same. Dragon Age wasn't the same, right? Fallout or Bethesda is not the same. All of these companies grow up just like we did. Move on. That talent was there, right? Like, I'm a Mets fan, okay? The Mets have a team every year, and every year they suck, right? But we still have the 86 team. The 86 team. Howard Johnson, Darryl Strawberry, Dwight Gooden, right? Keith Hernandez, right? There's a whole bunch of people on that team. They were a good team, and they just never had it since then, right? They get close, but they're not the team. Same with the Yankees or the Dodgers back in the day, right? They have a good team now, but this team's not going to be here forever. One linchpin, one person can leave the organization. The coach could leave. The glue that holds it all together could just leave and it's gone. No longer the teams. No longer Bethesda. No longer Bungie. This is not Bungie, man. This is Bungie by name. This is Mass Effect by name. Travis says, Mass Effect show is going to be ass. I hope not. I hope it's good. But, you know, August says companies don't have the creative liberties and abilities that they had back in when they also loved them. Now they are lazy, not as passionate, and chained around the necks and publishers and upper managers. Did you see that? I posted something. It wasn't really an article. It was something that Meryl Streep said, right? And I don't want to take it out of quote, right? Because I posted it, but it's what she said, right? What she said was, let me find it real fast. It was just a wording that she said. Now they headed it. The headline for this was make it sound like the whole article was about this, right? I read the article and I posted it. I don't know if you guys read the article, but Meryl Streep says Marvelizing has made movies so boring, right? And in the Discord, right? In the Discord, I said, this is how you know they didn't really like, right, what they did. They hate it. They hate us, right? They hated comic books back in the day. Remember, if you were a kid and you read comic books, a lot of people didn't like. They thought you were a nerd. They thought, well, you are a nerd, but they thought you were you were lower than them because you read comic books, right? You were lower than them if you played with action figures. You were lower than them if you watched cartoons, okay? But then Hollywood started making the comic books, okay? So her actual quote in here, let's read her actual quote if I can, because the Hollywood Reporter won't let me. Really? I can't. Okay. The Hollywood Reporter doesn't let me look up at the. Let me see if I can do it on my phone, because the browser for some reason locked up. Yeah, her actual quote, I can read it on the phone. She says, I feel like you get a realistic view, was from Streep's reply. He says, I think we tend to marvelize the movies now. We got the villains and we got the good guys, and it's just so boring. What she just said there tells me that she knows nothing about comic books, right? Because in comic books, there's not just villains and heroes and whatnot. There's actual story there, right? There's actually growth of characters. But the way they've made the movies over the last 15 to 20 years for Hollywood has completely flipped that script upside down for comic books. And they've done it in such a poor way that that's what everyone thinks. They're like, oh, it's just good guys and bad guys. Like if you go back and watch the old Superman films or the old Batman films with Michael Keaton, right? There's stories there. There's substance there. But now the way that Disney, once they took over Marvel and they pumped out the stuff, yeah, they were entertaining, but they're not the same as what that was put on the paper. And the people that are making the stuff from the comic books into movies, they don't have the same love and tender care for it because they didn't give a shit about it. There's like, oh yeah, kids like the superheroes. Let's put it in the theaters. Let's put it in the right. That's what they do, and they just grind it to death, which they did. Right. So when she comes out and says stuff like that, she's not really putting down the comics, and she's not really putting down what the Marvel films are. She's saying it's just kind of boring. It's just good guys versus bad guys. Da da. Right. There's no substance there. Well, that's because the people in charge of it don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's not because of the material. Sarge says they aren't creative enough to come up with their own ideas, so they use old IPs, but they don't understand them, so they destroy them. So they tell me that they tell where the creative people are. Right. Altern says stupid brain tanks use the hints of everyone uses the same scenes. Travis says we were talking about Streep. I'm always impressed that she can even read. Jesse Mack says, back then you liked Star Wars, you're a nerd. Now it's cool people are calling it you're a nerd anymore. Well, you know what the funny part is? I said this over a year ago. Maybe almost 2 years ago. When I was younger, I liked Star Wars. And you would go up to someone and say, have you seen Star Wars? And people were like, no, I've never seen Star Wars. Right? They didn't care about it. And when you play with Star Wars figures and stuff like that, you would have an aunt or uncle be like, what is that? Right? They didn't understand what it was because they just didn't care or they didn't see Star Wars. Even though a lot of people saw Star Wars, don't get me wrong, right? There was a lot of people that went, oh, you're one of those people. You like Star Wars, right? That's how it was when we were kids. And then all of a sudden in 1999, 2000s, when they started doing the prequels, more people started watching Star Wars. And now when you ask someone, did you see Star Wars? They're like, oh yeah, I know what Star Wars is, yeah. And then it became really exciting because of 7, 8, and 9 when it came out, and people were like, yeah, Star Wars. And then the people that like Star Wars like, that's not Star Wars. They're like, oh, I love it. Oh, it was so good. And you're like, nah, that's not Star Wars. Right? That's what it was. So what I said over 2 years ago was I used to get picked on because I was a Star Wars fan. Okay? I used to get picked on because I liked Star Wars when I was a kid. Okay? Now I'm an adult. Now I don't like the Star Wars that is out now. And now I'm being picked on because I don't like 7, 8, 9. Do you see how this has come full circle? It's like I used to love Star Wars. I got picked on because I liked the thing. And now I don't like this thing of Star Wars. And now I'm being picked on because now I'm sexist, racist, and misogynistic because I don't like Star Wars. Like, I'm here. I'm still in the center. It shifted around me. Bat says, do you have a Steam controller? No, I do not. I take an Xbox controller and I plug it into my computer. Ron says, The Boys is an example of superhero storytelling. First 2 seasons are great. Then it kind of fell off the cart for me. Sarge's like, right, you were one of those people, a.k.a. a nerd. That's right. Says, I used to get picked on for Star Wars. Now we pick on the people who do like the Star Wars. The circle of life. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah, but I'm not picking on the people that like 7, 8, 9. I'm just saying that's not my Star Wars. Those people are picking on me are the same people that used to pick. Do you see how this is? I like Star Wars. These people that didn't like Star Wars like, you like Star Wars, you nerd, right? Then it shifted. I still like Star Wars. They're like, I like this Star Wars. You're like, I don't like that Star Wars. You nerd. It's like, wait a minute. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have that. You wouldn't have that. Did you check out the new game? How do you say that? Athlon on Sony's new game, Concord Slop. I did not. Bad Batch was the last Star Wars. I thought it was good. I liked Bad Batch. Didn't love it. But I liked it. I didn't see them all show. I hear okay things about it. I'll probably watch it down the road. Eclipse says, yeah, you're just a boomer 30. That's fine. Although he says, I'm enjoying the Shadow Lord show. I heard it's good, but not good. But I'm also getting it from El Dente. I'm getting it from this is a perfect segue into Star Wars because we're going to talk about Star Wars, right? The grouping of Krebsy showed it to me a couple weeks ago. Someone brought up that every Star Wars show has a goddamn adult with a kid, right? Except for the one show of Andor and Skeleton Crew, which is all kids, right? But also there's an adult there protecting the kids. But there's always the one and then the person, right? It's like the one and then the younger one. And they're like, can we get away from this? It's like the same thing over and over and over, just told in different ways. Yeah, the father figure. Yeah. It's the same thing over and over. Right? You mean The Last of Us? All right, let me go to. There was a video I watched yesterday. I got to find it. It was a live stream, so I don't know if I can. I don't know where it was. So give me a second. Is this it? He'll probably break it out. Oh, he did. Is this it?
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
All right, give me a second. Let me find this for you. I want to give where credit is due, right? Let me make sure this is it. Yeah, this is it. Okay, he broke it out from the show last night. I watched this live. Fake Wizard was on it and stuff like that. They have a good conversation about what Star Wars. I'm setting this up for you guys a little bit, okay? They're talking about that the Star Wars reset, okay, is happening. Now, how it's happening, we don't know yet, but the way it broke, okay, is from the parks, okay? And you're like, well, how did it break from the parks? So the people that they cast for the characters of like Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka, like who play the actual characters, when you work at a park, okay, when you work at the theme park, you have a list of questions that you study so you know the answers to. So when people come up to you, they try to immerse you as much as they can, right? Like that is the character. So if a kid comes up and says, why did you kill Han Solo? And they're like, and they know the answers, right? So the people in the park, there is these other content creators that were at the park, and they had an interaction. Okay, they had an interaction with Ahsoka. Okay, so because they had an interaction with Ahsoka said something, which I won't say now because I don't want to spoil it. Okay, I'm gonna put WDW Pro's channel in the description down below. Give me 1 second so we can put that up there so you guys can go over to that channel. I like watching his stuff. WDW Pro, right? Yeah. Okay. He does live streams. He does multiple shows and stuff like that. So go check them out. I like his stuff because he also does his channel like a TV show, sort of like we do this with the Daily Grind. So yeah, we're gonna watch this video that just came out 3 hours ago. It's called Star Wars Reset: Demand by Disney Executives. Sequel trilogy out. All right, this is a long video.
Take control of the direction of your life as an Imperial Stormtrooper. Visit exotic locations and destroy rebels. The Empire needs you.
I like that Stormtrooper voice. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat. I like that. It's good. All right. So we're going to watch WWW Pro. We might watch it at 1.25 because... okay, so here we go.
May the 4th is here, and we just might be near the actual end of the sequel trilogy. It's been promised oft before, but what if we told you that Wall Street is ticked off and they're ready to tell Lucasfilm no more? The Mando box office could be part of it. We'll explain why they simply cannot stay with the timeline as it currently is.
Another reason we're watching this is if those of you that have been longtime watchers of my channel, we go over Star Wars a lot in the past, right? We always talk about the world between worlds. So now it's coming to fruition, I think.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to step into one of the biggest scoops that we have ever done here on the channel, talking about the future of Star Wars and the potentiality that yes, indeedly doodly, Disney has finally had enough and they're ready for a reset. We'll explain how. It's probably not the way that you're...
That look right there is exactly how we all look at Star Wars now.
Thinking, and we will get into this. Before we do, we need to tell everybody you should take this with a dosage of sodium for the day. We're going to be talking about future products that are in development, and therefore we cannot guarantee that this will happen, as changes may occur behind the
Yeah, these are all just speculations, but just listen.
scenes. As we said before, though, we have a history of doing these kinds of scoops. The last time we did one this big was with letting you all know that Star Wars Celebration would feature Daisy Ridley being announced in a new Rey movie, and boom, it happened, even if the movie does not. Before we get into the scoop, we need to set the table, and this is not the fellow you might think would be the guy to set the table for you, but well, he's
Shaggy.
Ruh-roh, Raggy. No, we love this guy. He's the guy behind Always Believe, a very cool channel with 60,000 subscribers. Folks, we highly recommend you go check them out. They're bloggers for Disneyland. And they've stumbled into one heck of a situation here. We're going to play it. They visited Disneyland and they talked to one of the cast members. The one they talked to plays Ahsoka. Now, if you know anything about how it works when you are a cast member who plays a character at Disney, you, in training, receive...
This is 100% true, by the way. I have friends that were all cast members that were played like Snow White, Cinderella, and stuff like that. So this is 100% true.
A huge number of questions that guests may ask you, and you memorize the kinds of answers you would give. You can deviate to some degree, but you really should stick to the script as best you can. These are highly protected documents. You seldom actually get to see them out in the public, but if you train to be a face character,
right,
you train on what you're going to say. The same is true for Ahsoka. And guess what else? Where do those answers come from if you are playing Ahsoka?
They come from higher-ups because they got to keep all the worlds together.
They do not, we believe, only come from Disney in terms of Disney Imagineering and Disney Parks, but also Lucasfilm. Because Galaxy's Edge, when it comes to all of the canon and the lore, and this is considered canon in Star Wars, well, it's controlled by the Lucasfilm story group. Let's see what Ahsoka had to say to them about why Luke, Leia, Han, Darth, and all the rest are showing up suddenly in a place that was supposed to be set after The Last Jedi.
Listen up, because...
Oh, for God's sakes. I think I'm going to have to get the Prime just for this purpose alone.
Although it's weird because there's like not really any characters out.
Yeah.
There's no like First Order show.
No. We saw Ahsoka, but that's about it. She's the only one.
Ahsoka had some things to say.
Yeah.
She had some things to say to us.
Yeah.
Did you tell them what she said?
You can say it, because maybe you can say it better than I did.
Well, she didn't technically she told Alice, because Alice is her apprentice. Shattering a rift of some sort.
The world between worlds is shattering.
Worlds, and she knows about that. Yeah. And
okay. So again, take this and they'll say the same thing, right? Take this with a grain of salt. Okay, just a grain of salt. But the world between worlds is shattering. Okay? We knew 100% this is how they were going to do this. Okay, now again, we're not 100% sure this is actually happening, but we talked about this multiple years ago, right? We had long conversations on this channel on Nerding with 30 and stuff like that about the world between worlds and how they could do it to reset or change the stuff, right? How all of a sudden is, again, we're connecting movies, shows, and the park together here. So take this with a grain of salt, okay? But before, their reasoning for not having the old trilogy people in the new park was because they didn't live in the same timeline, right? They were gone. They were dead. So when they built that park in Florida and in California, you only saw Kylo and Rey and all these people inside of this land because this land takes place during this time frame. But now in the parks, Kathleen Kennedy's gone and they opened it up where they're putting Darth Vader, right? Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Leia, and they're all walking around the same park as the new characters and the old characters together. How? Well, according to Ahsoka in the park, is because there's a shattering happened.
That they called for backup because somebody named Darth Vader is going to be coming around.
All right. Now, Lauren, we have heard about the world between worlds. I think we've seen it before in Ahsoka, but this is, I don't want to say this is canon because a character said it to Disney, but if this is part of the official script, if this is part of the reason now that they're saying that all these characters exist in this place called Batu that's canon, this is the first time in...
Jesse Mack says, where is Ahsoka in the original trilogy? Well, she was dead. But if you watched Rebels, when Ezra went into the world between worlds, he saw Ahsoka and pulled her out of that spot where she's supposed to die. Well, then she's in the present day, and then she goes on. So there was a spot where she was supposed to die, and then it was a gap. Okay? Because Rebels takes place 5 years before the original trilogy. Right? So she was supposed to be dead. She wasn't supposed to live on.
From Lucasfilm that we're getting all of these different timelines coming together via the world between worlds. Is that right?
Sort of, yes, based on that interaction.
Lauren here is what you would consider a Star Wars nerd. Okay, and I'm not making fun of him in any way, shape, or form. Right? This man knows everything that can be about Star Wars. Okay, so listen to what he says.
Action.
Okay, and Lauren, why is Ahsoka in particular so interesting when it comes to the world between worlds?
It's the world between worlds was introduced in Rebels, and this involved Ahsoka surviving an encounter that she should not have survived with Darth Vader. And this came after a duel. She was yanked out in the middle of that duel by Ezra through the portal into the world between worlds and ended up essentially catapulted into the future. She avoided her fate. And we have seen the world between worlds as well in the Ahsoka series. That's where the shattering this actress is referencing comes from. It involves Anakin, or a vision of Anakin within the world between worlds, shattering the bridge that she...
Which, if you watched the show and then saw the last Ahsoka series, you would know that they were also in the world between worlds there as well.
Was on, and then she abruptly exited the world between worlds and woke up unconscious in a body of water.
And so it's fair to say that Ahsoka, in the canon of current Star Wars, Ahsoka is not supposed to be alive. She cheated death through however this world between worlds thing works, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
I like how Marv, look at the deep breath he took, and he's like, oh boy, here we go. Here, watch this again.
Between worlds thing works, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Hold on.
He's like, all right, here we go.
None of that, ladies and gentlemen. We needed to set the table for you, okay? I need you to know that things are happening behind the scenes because at the same time that Disneyland is bringing all these characters, and we assume Florida will do so soon as well, bringing all the original characters back into this world, the reason they're giving is because of the world between worlds. That's why all these characters suddenly exist in Disneyland. All right. Take a look at this out of the Hollywood Reporter. This has been covered on the Valiant Renegade.
Yeah, but this is a little different. And we talked about this in the past as well, Eclipse, and they also talk about it here. This is not a one-to-one multiverse type of thing, right? It's not. Lauren actually explains what it is. So it's not exactly a multiverse because everything lives in something all in the same timeline here.
Panel, we're covering it here right now.
A multiverse is happening here, 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 and here. This is not multiverses. This is one timeline, and this place is the center of it, and peeks into all these points: the future, the past.
Office Mandalorian and Grogu now tracking for an $80 million launch. Directed by Jon Favreau, the movie is a big screen continuation of Disney Plus's streaming series, The Mandalorian. Pamela McClintock writing this. Folks,
it's more like Back to the Future. A little bit.
You don't even really need to read much of the article. I just need you to know this is coming out Memorial Day weekend. Now, any movie that comes out as the big blockbuster for Memorial Day weekend, if it makes less than $100 million, that's humiliating because there are about 4 big
This thing is projected to make like 65 million opening
weekends in the year when that's like, get ready. Independence Day is one of those. You've got Thanksgiving to a lesser degree. You've got Christmas. Some might say Labor Day a little bit. But Memorial Day weekend is a huge weekend. For Mandalorian and Grogu to come out and make 80 million in 4 days, remember what that means is that Star Wars on a 3-day counter, right? The 3-day weekend is tracking for $60 million.
Oh, 60. I thought it was 65. Oh, for God's sakes. Sorry. I gotta keep doing this for the commercials.
We've reached the point where they don't have many choices left. We've reached the point where this is just unsustainable. And so it seems like perhaps under new Disney leadership.
Yeah, I saw the cost, but the reason they're saying that is to show like, well, if it doesn't do well, it doesn't need that much money. Well, if it only costs $80 million, it still needs to make about $300 million to make money. Does it make money? I don't know.
The new Disney,
not if it's making $65 million the opening weekend.
C-suite Josh tomorrow. Maybe they've had enough. Let's go to it now from that Park Place. Here we have it. Disney executives reportedly ready to reset Star Wars and splinter the sequel trilogy. Let's get into the rumor. Let's get into the stuff.
Okay, so Disney executives reportedly ready to reset Star Wars and splinter the sequel trilogy, meaning that it still exists, but it's going to exist in a completely separate timeline then, right? Which is sort of like, is that a multiverse? What's happening?
And then we're going to hand it over to Marv and Lauren to talk about this. Marv, we've got here this focus group that Matt Bellany from Puck put together. Walk us through this, Marv, because this comes from an article that you wrote. This is also recently breaking over the weekend that kids don't care for Star Wars anymore.
Correct. So essentially what happened was Matt Bellany had a group of teens ages 17 and 18 in for an interview about, what's going on in Hollywood and summer movies that they're excited for. They talked at length about Spider-Man. They talked...
Well, I'll wait till he's done.
At length about the Odyssey. And they had some really terrible hot takes too. So these aren't based kids. He was like, well, what's one celebrity that makes you go out of your way to see a movie? They were like, oh, Zendaya. So these were those kinds of kids. And he said, well, what about Star Wars? And they basically said, we don't really care.
Okay. So the people they interviewed were 17, 18 years old. When's the last Star Wars movie that came out? When's the last movie that Star Wars came out? 7 years ago. So they were 10. Okay. They were 10. So there hasn't been a movie for that whole time frame from when if they saw Star Wars in the theater. And when they saw the first movie of episode 7, they would be 6 or 7. Okay? 6 or 7. And then they saw episode 7. Then they were 8 or 9. They saw episode 8. And they were 9 or 10. And then they saw episode 9. Hasn't seen it since. Out of sight, out of mind. That's just the way it works. They're not really watching the past Star Wars because they're shit. So they don't watch it. My son, on the other hand, who is now 11, when episode 9 came out, and follow me on this, okay? He hasn't seen 9. He hasn't seen 9. He's seen episode 7, he's seen episode 8, but he didn't want to watch episode 9. Not because I told him about anything about episode 9. He watched 7, watched 8, didn't like 8. He's like, I don't know if I want to watch 9. He watches the original Star Wars all the time. He watches 4, 5, and 6, 1, 2, and 3 weekly. So to say that the kids are not interested in Star Wars, it's because of the time frame that the last 6, 7 years have been nothing, right? Been nothing. I don't think the kids are watching it on Disney Plus. There's no movies coming out the last couple of years. Toys are down. You go to Target, you go to Best Buy, you go to any place that there's toys, Walmart, there are no Star Wars toys. The Star Wars toys that are on the shelves are for us, the older guys. So the only people like my son, reason they would know about Star Wars is if we, the adults, introduced them to the original Star Wars, showed them the original toys and whatnot, right? Most people don't care. They've lost interest because of 7, 8, 9, meaning it's been a decade of no one caring from our age bracket or my age bracket, okay, that we're into Star Wars, 10 years that nobody gives a shit about Star Wars. My kid's 11. The only Star Wars he knows that is because of the Star Wars I love, and he loves that Star Wars as well. If it's because of me or if it's because he actually likes it, right? So when you interview a 17 to 18-year-old and they're like, we don't really care about Star Wars, Disney has done that. Disney has literally killed the brand for this generation of kids that grew up on this Star Wars.
Like, it says here, I like the old stuff, but the new stuff, I'm not too excited for The Mandalorian. Never watched it personally. And another one says anything.
Yeah, see, hold on. Let me back up here.
Yeah. So like this for those kinds of kids. And he said, well, what about Star Wars? And they basically said, we don't really care. Like, it says here, I like the old stuff, but the new stuff, I'm not.
So a 17, 18-year-old says, I like the old stuff. I don't like the new stuff.
Not too excited for The Mandalorian. Never watched it personally. And another one says, anything that came out before I was born isn't that great.
Right. So even the kids who lean in a particular direction, they don't care for the stuff that Disney thought they were going to make them happy with. Like The Acolyte, for example. And if you think The Acolyte is actually retrending on Disney Plus, we've got tropical land in Antarctica to sell you.
Right.
All right. Here's what we've got, folks. We're going to go down here. It just came out over the weekend as well that Jon Favreau says he will sit down and talk with Dave Filoni next week about the future of the Mandoverse movies and shows, which is amazing because that lines up with what we're hearing behind the scenes. And so when this happened, when we saw this pop out, we said, okay, we've got a lot of stuff landing at the same time. All right. So you all know, I'll put this picture up.
Like, I'm not making fun of the actors that are playing Princess Leia and Han Solo in the parks, but they literally look like Princess and Prince of a Disney thing. They've Disney-fied the characters in the park.
I know it's bad casting, but they're bringing the characters back, the OG characters, the OT characters. They're back at Disneyland. You get the idea. All right, so let's go down here to the World Between Worlds. All right. It says what this means is the rumors we've been hearing that Lucasfilm was about to actually use the World Between Worlds is already happening, and it's being implemented first at the parks. I mean, it's happening. Before getting into where Star Wars is likely headed, according to a source, we'll just put this quote out there about Disney implementing the OT characters in the parks. It comes from a former Imagineer who wishes to have their identity protected. It says, oh man, I have a strong bias for the OG and a deep adverse opinion for sequels. Even badly cast, it is all a better product now, in my opinion. Star Wars is not as hard as Disney has made it. Good old Bobby has damaged a lot of strong brands in his tenure. I am extremely hopeful that the fans will react in a positive way, and this will begin to set the course for correction. It's going to take time, though. Again, this from.
But the projection of if it's the World Between Worlds and you're getting rid of. Here's the thing. If you disconnect 7, 8, 9, fine. You still got to make good Star Wars afterwards. Right? You still got to make good Star Wars afterwards. Waterbear says 30. Maybe Lucas is the truth Sith Lord. His plan, sell Star Wars, then it's popular, but back when it's down. I literally made a video about this before you even watched my channel, Water, like 6 to 7 years ago. I said it. It's not even on there anymore, but I actually said that after Force Awakens. No, it was after The Last Jedi. I came out of the theater and I had a big giant rant about it. And I actually brought that up. I said, what about if Lucas set this up because he wanted to, hurt them in the long run? He made his money, set her up, destroy it within. I actually had a video about this. Eldadi says, what if I always wanted was for them to drop the connected stories, to just have the stories as Star Wars universe, different times, but every movie self-contained. They might be doing it that way.
I'm a former Imagineer. All right, let's get in the rumor. Here it is, folks. Take this with salt, but there's a lot of stuff lining up here. A lot of stuff, and we're about to get into the nitty-gritty details. According to a source close to Lucasfilm, we now believe that the final season of Ahsoka, which I think, Lauren, we have that confirmed in recent interviews. There won't be a third season of Ahsoka. Is that right?
At least that's what they have said. That's correct.
Okay. According to a source close to Lucasfilm, we now believe that the final season of Ahsoka is Filoni's last chance to get ratings for this era of Star Wars. If it does not get ratings, the plan told...
That is terrible. To put everything on the line on this one shitty Star Wars show, that to understand what's happening in Ahsoka Season 2, you have to watch basically all of Rebels, Clone Wars Season 7. You got to watch all of Star Wars just to understand what the hell is going on in Season 2 of Ahsoka.
Us that there will be a mini project to wrap up the Mandoverse and pivot back to the original Star Wars characters. More importantly, we have been informed that Disney executives have impressed upon Dave Filoni that the sequel trilogy needs to be branched off. The way to do that, we believe, based on conversations, is for Ahsoka to interact with the World Between Worlds in a way that makes the Kathleen Kennedy sequel trilogy exist in its own timeline.
See, and that's basically what you just said, El Nete, right? World Between Worlds, make Kathleen Kennedy's sequel trilogy exist in its own timeline, separated from the rest of the Star Wars.
Separate from the rest of Star Wars. We have been told more details, but are refraining from providing the info in order to not spoil possible future stories. I will also say that we're not sharing more details because we don't want to have a situation where they actually change their plans because it leaked.
Right.
And so they adjust to that because we are probably not a year, maybe multiple years away from them implementing all this. Although, Lauren, I know later.
So basically, they're writing the stories. What WDW Pro just said was, we don't want to tell you what they said because if we do, then they're going to change it, right? So basically, they're writing Star Wars like fucking Marathon's writing Marathon, like Bungie's writing Marathon. They're like, well, they heard something, let's change the story up so they don't spoil it.
In the show, you disagree with that, is that right?
Well, somewhat. I'm curious how deep you want me to go into what I think is going on here. So
right.
We'll play it by ear.
According to our source, there is a significant desire from Lucasfilm to give Ahsoka a movie ending and to make the change in a way that satisfies original trilogy, prequel trilogy, and sequel trilogy fans. Don't get us. We're just reporting this, okay? I know many of you would say there's no way that'll work. We're just reporting it. An internal fear, allegedly, is that doing a franchise-level reset in a Disney Plus show, novel, or comic would leave audiences confused.
They're already confused, but to make a offshoot comic book or book would be even worse.
Moving forward.
Yeah.
As for why any of us should believe that Disney is finally ready to make the change, it's basically that they have almost no choice. The Star Wars Hotel, Galactic Star Cruiser, was based on the sequel trilogy. It failed and closed in 1 year. When Galaxy's Edge, the theme park land, was opened at Disneyland, attendance at the park actually decreased. They can't even get a Rey movie into production after trotting Daisy Ridley out on stage. And you all know the joke about the Acolyte.
Where's the fans? Where are all these so-called fans of the new trilogy series?
Favreau is meeting with Dave Filoni this week about the future of Star Wars. That's a good sign. It likely means that Disney has managed to keep Favreau past his contract, which we believe ends with The Mandalorian and Grogu. Favreau has been all about referencing George Lucas and the OT in the run-up to Mando. And a poor box office performance for the film is the sort of thing that might actually free his hands even more. After all, if Disney feels Favreau needs the ability to cook without being tethered to a more amateurish Lucasfilm, he might get the chance to do what Kathleen Kennedy never wanted, reset Star Wars.
Oof. If they reset Star Wars, I told you, we've had this conversation as well. You can't do live action. You can't do live action. Okay? And hear me out. The new era of kids growing up right now, okay? There's crap on television. Like crap on television, okay? You need to make it an animated show. Maybe not like the Clone Wars, but you need to capture kids. Kids, young teenagers, okay? Yeah, you got to make it anime, right? You got to make it in some way, shape, or form, not live action, okay? You got to build up the populace again of Star Wars. It's different times. Back in the day in the 70s when they were making the stuff, there was nothing like that on the movie set, right? That was like mind-blowing for people. Well, now we've seen it all, right? We've seen it all. All the special effects. You're not going to top something and go, oh my God, this is amazing. We're at the top of the ceiling here, okay? So you have to start changing your thought process and how do we capture what's popular right now? Anime is huge, okay? Huge. They have to go with something down the line to capture that audience, to bring them back in. So like when I'm 60 or 70 years old and my grandkid grows up, he's going to know and be like, oh yeah, I know what Star Wars is, Grandpa, right? It's that thing. I'm like, oh no, that's not Star Wars. He's like, oh, but they need to have their Star Wars to bring it back up from a business standpoint. You can't just keep doing what we're doing, but if they're going to remake Star Wars, shot for shot, make it anime. I've brought up anime type of Star Wars things that they sort of like, it looked like heavy metal a little bit. Another one looked like, I'm trying to think of the other style, right? But you have to have it where it's just, it's a standalone, but make it for the new generation. But don't change it. Just keep Star Wars as Star Wars, but just change the palette of it. Change the delivery mechanism of it. Don't put it as live action. Make it into what people like, what they like watching right now.
Of course, I don't think this would ever happen under Bob Iger. I don't think it would ever happen under Kathleen Kennedy, but here we are. All right, Lauren, go ahead, Marv, go ahead.
Something's got to give, because it's unsustainable the way it is at the moment. You have this property that is, they need it to be profitable, and it's not. Nothing that they do is making any money, and the fact that this Mando movie is going to bomb is going to be a massive...
Going back to the kids, right? If your son or daughter comes up to you and says, Mommy, I want this toy. I want this thing. You got to hook them, man. You got to have the Transformers. You have to have the G.I. Joes. You have to have what they did back when we were kids to hook us for the stuff. If Disney wants to make money, they've got to make it badass looking and cool. They can't just keep going, oh, yeah, here it is.
Massive issue for them. It proves that it's not a viable theatrical property anymore. And to say that about Star Wars is still wild. The only times they have to be able to notice, the only times that people actually have gotten excited about things that they have done, the last time there was major fan approval around something was when Luke showed up at the end of Mando 2. And the problem with The Mandalorian is that the further it goes, the more we get closer and closer to the First Order, and nobody wants to get there.
Right. And the other thing, too, is, so if this opens to 80 million, you think it's going to do a 1-to-1 probably. So it's 160 million worldwide global opening. Mm-hmm. And Star Wars films tend to do something like a 2.5, 2.75. Now, there are exceptions. Force Awakens, for example, is an exception. But Solo and Return of Skywalker, or the Rise of Skywalker, I always want to say Rise of Palpatine, both did around that 2.75. So if it comes in at 180 and it does 2.75, this film is not going to come close to breaking even.
No.
So, and this is like, what's bigger than The Mandalorian for Lucasfilm or for Disney? So we've run out of options here. They have to do something. Now, Lauren, we have been told, go ahead, Marv.
Well, I was going to say that they have made it a point in the marketing for this to say that this is the least expensive Star Wars movie ever made, because they want to get out in front of the financial loss thing here. But it's a Star Wars movie. If it doesn't make over, $500 million or 750 million, I don't care at that point what the break even point was. That's a failure.
Well, I'll say this: if this is a complete bomb and failure at the box office, but it's liked by the actual fans of Star Wars, that's a win, right? And hear me out. It's a win. I don't think it's going to do, right? But if people like it and they're like, this reminds me of old Star Wars, this reminds me of where Star Wars was, it doesn't do very well in the theaters. Fine. But if they can put that beacon of light out and people see it and go, actually, it was pretty good, you should go see it. That word of mouth starts to spread. Jon Favreau captured Star Wars, right? Be like, oh, I look like crap. No, it's good. Sort of like what happened with the Transformers 1 movie. The trailer looked absolutely like garbage. They were marketing it like it's like a Marvel film. But then when you go see Transformers 1, you're like, actually, it was a really good movie. Word of mouth got out afterwards and people liked that movie, but it didn't do well in theaters, right? If they could do something along the same lines with this movie as the point number one of going, oh, Favreau did this, it actually is pretty good. It didn't do well at the box office. They'll take it on the chin for not doing well at the box office, but then the word of mouth gets out and saying they actually captured Star Wars. This might be the comeback that Jon Favreau is trying to do.
Yes. Okay. So, Lauren, people
and that's not being mean copium, by the way. Like, I'm on an all-time low with Star Wars right now.
Been waiting. I am not in the position to talk about everything I know or think that I know when it comes to how they're going to do this. You have some very interesting theories, which I think people should listen to. And that's the way I'm going to put this. Lauren, what do you think they could do that would branch the sequel trilogy off? And folks, we're going to get into whether or not it's a good idea and whether it would fix Star Wars. Because I know many of you out there are saying, this is crap. This will never fix Star Wars. It's not enough. Hang on. But first, Lauren, how could they do it? And what does it seem like they're leading up to if they've been told finally branch off the sequel trilogy, whatever that might mean? Go ahead.
So I'm going to lay out a few things before I get into the theory, because I think it's important to provide some context, and it will explain why I've been saying some of the things that I've been saying for a while.
My wife stopped.
Hold on.
Disney and Lucasfilm have an impossible task. And part of the reason for that is the one thing that they must do to fix Star Wars is the one thing that it is almost impossible for them to do, which is to disavow, to eject, to eliminate the sequel trilogy.
Which is so hard to do, right? Because it's a shit stain on your white carpet in the middle of your dog wiped his ass on the white carpet. Right? You could try to get it out of there. Right? You could try to get it out of there, right? But every time you look at that spot, you're like, there's always a shit stain there, right? That's 7, 8, and 9 of the Star Wars.
And the reason that it's almost impossible for them to do that is that they have so damaged the brand at this point that the calculation that they have to make is, okay, we know the fans hate it. We know nobody wants it. But if we get rid of it, if we throw it all away, if we come out and we say that it's not canon, and then we try and produce something new, and then the fan base doesn't like that either.
This is a good point that he makes. I'll let him finish.
They have now pissed off everybody. Mm-hmm. And that truly eliminates the brand.
Right. So if they try something new, and the new thing is not liked by the old or the new, and the new part gets rid of the last new part, then everybody hates them. Everybody hates them. Right now, you're on a cusp of 7, 8, and 9 fans. I don't know how many there are. There could be like 20 of them. Okay. They like what Disney is doing. Everybody else hates it. Right? Now, if they do this and go, oh, we're trying to make this better than this. Now, these people hate this. If these people hate this, I think that's fine. But if the new stuff comes out and the old hates it and the new hates it, well, then they're screwed. They're done.
Point, there's no recovery whatsoever.
And we're really close to no recovery right now. Many people say there's no recovery.
That is exactly why they're in the position they're in now. They have an impossible task. So the closest thing that they can do is try to have their cake and eat it too. They want to preserve the sequel trilogy for those people who do like it, while also eliminating it from actually being a part of the timeline.
Now, hang on a second, Lauren. I want to interrupt you. Not that I enjoy interrupting you, but I want to interrupt for just a minute because I need to put something. People think that we're just trying to fanboy this, or we're trying to talk about Star Wars because we really love Luke and we can't stand what Kathleen Kennedy. Hang on, ladies and gentlemen. We're running the numbers here, okay? This is a financial thing for Disney. And to understand why they would be willing to do this now, you need to understand what's at stake. If you look at
you see that? Pokemon, $156.5 billion, number one franchise out there. Hello Kitty, $119.5 billion. Winnie the Pooh, $108.4. I didn't know Winnie the Pooh was that big. Mickey Mouse, Winnie the Pooh is bigger than Mickey Mouse and Friends. And Star Wars is number 5 with $103.4 billion. Wow.
The highest grossing entertainment franchises of all time, adjusted for inflation, This includes merchandise and everything. It's not just movies, it's merchandise, everything. Pokemon is number one at $150 billion. Hello Kitty, pretty far behind at 120. Winnie the Pooh, 108. Mickey Mouse at 106. Star Wars is at
There's a massive drop, right? Massive drop from 5 to 6 with Mario.
103. I don't know if you all know this, but Mickey Mouse has been around longer than Star Wars. Star Wars is in the 5th spot. And this thing,
I'm sorry, is Call of Duty on this list at 43.6 billion? Call of Duty is ahead of Spider-Man? Holy shit.
thing could drop to being completely irrelevant. Now, imagine if Mattel had Barbie and Barbie was about to become unsellable. Okay? Mattel would do anything to stop that from happening because it's existential. I think that Star Wars is almost it's we're here now, right? The Mandalorian Grogu is the flashing red light. Disney knows they're about to be completely irrelevant with what is the number 5 biggest franchise on the planet. All right, go ahead, Lauren.
So they've got a couple of interesting problems here. They need to somehow come up with a reset, but I don't believe they can reboot the trilogy for reasons that the original trilogy, for reasons we've already gone into. One, that would make people even angrier because you're trying to replace classics and there's no evidence.
This is why I say one for one shot, just make it in a new form. Don't change the story. Don't change anything. Just make Star Wars, but package it differently for a new generation.
That they can do that. You have to somehow come up with something greater than the original. And secondly, I would argue that they already did that with the sequel trilogy. It's part of what got them in trouble in the first place. So they have to find a way to eliminate what ultimately killed the franchise while still keeping it as part of the story for those people who want it. And the way that you do that is with a plot device like the World Between Worlds. Now, this is something that I've said before, and it's important to keep this part in mind. What I'm talking about is not a multiverse. I don't think a multiverse can work in Star Wars. It is a different kind of animal. It is not a comic book. I also don't think that it is, in the strictest sense of the thinking of it, time travel. There was a time travel effect of the World Between Worlds, but I think the World Between Worlds works differently.
Well, it's the World Between Worlds. It's not. It's a standalone world within the worlds.
In a way,
it's like the hub into all the other places.
This is more kind of like a Doctor Who thing in that it's a timey-wimey thing. And it's also a plot device that you really only get to use once. It's an emergency escape hatch.
Which technically they already used it once. Now they're going back and using it a second time.
And you have to use it in a way that also destroys it when it's done. So the one thing that has altered reality in Star Wars in a concrete way was Ezra saving Ahsoka. And I think that means that it reverberated throughout time in the Star Wars universe and space, because that's how the World Between Worlds works. It is a central focus of the Force that touches every time and event throughout history, going forward and going back. That's why all of the portals exist the way that they do in that space. The shattering that they're referring to occurred in Ahsoka Season 1.
And real quick, the shattering that they're referring to, again, which it's so odd for us to be using this as the example, but this is where it came from. Folks will put it on the screen for those of you who are just joining. These bloggers at Disneyland.
And again, this is a far stretch to think because of the... If people don't understand the context, that the actress that played Ahsoka in a theme park said something about the shattering of the World Between Worlds, right? And you're like, what does this mean? It's just a theme park thing. Again, in the very beginning, we talk about how the actors that play these characters in the parks know the information about certain plot points because of the shows, because they know that kids are going to ask questions and people are going to ask questions, so they have to know this.
Had the Ahsoka character who is trained in what to say to questions, her response to how all these characters are at Disneyland is that the shattering of the World Between Worlds has brought these characters together, which is the first time that Lucasfilm is using that in canon. Batu is considered canon. So Lauren, they're doing it. It's just how are they going to do it with Disney Plus? Lauren, as you continue to explain this, walk us through how do they get rid of the sequel trilogy using the World Between Worlds, and why do we think that they might actually do that this time?
What they have to do is put reality back the way that it was supposed to be, which means they have to prevent Ezra from saving Ahsoka in the first place. And what that does is restore what would be the original timeline that should have occurred, and it allows you to pick up from the end of Return of the Jedi fresh, while not technically eliminating what happened before. It's like looping time around in kind of a circle and then continuing back from...
Right. So like, here's the point. You want to come back around to it, hit this point, and then continue going forward.
From an earlier point, if you follow what I'm saying.
Go ahead, Marv.
I think that they don't even have to do all of this. I think Ezra pulling her through has already done this, and you could easily say that it's done this. Because without Ahsoka, in Mando Season 2, the Empire gets the baby, and they use the baby to clone Palpatine.
That's what they did.
But they didn't finish the testing they had to do on Grogu.
No, it's not the testing they had to do on Grogu. It's that they had used his blood initially to conduct several cloning tests, but none of them were successful. All of the test subjects died. That's why they ultimately had to fuse cloning, strandcast technology, dark science, and secrets only the Sith knew. And the best that they could get was Snoke. And then, essentially, through the use of the harness that they hung Palpatine on, that kept his version of a clone alive. That was the dark science part.
Let me simplify this for people like me who are not huge Star Wars fans to the degree that you are, Lauren, okay? Let me simplify this. And for those who are interested in the financials of it all, what you're suggesting, and I may not be able to, is that what they could do is have Ahsoka go to the World Between Worlds and fix it, maybe in a way that ends her. So you got this big moment. The
problem with that is, do they... See, the problem is, Thrawn is in here. Okay, Thrawn lives in this thing, and Thrawn's not in the original stuff as well. He's in the Timothy Zahn stuff, right? So if Ahsoka comes back, fixes the problem, it causes a different problem, and then they go on from that problem forward. You know what I mean? So let's just say she goes back, she sacrifices herself, stops the World Between Worlds, it goes back like it never happened. You still get to some other outcome where 7, 8, and 9 are. It's just in a different version of it.
But that would reset Star Wars after the George Lucas trilogy, but it wouldn't mean that the sequel trilogy never happened. It just means that it's in its own branched off timeline, sort of like the extended universe.
Yeah, but Jesse, you have to do something, right? Jesse says 30. Disney had already made their bed with Star Wars. Why would they reset to come out with it? And then they also just admit that they also fucked up. What did Xbox just do? Xbox admitted they fucked up. Sometimes you have to admit that you fucked up so you can move on, right? At one point, yes, they admit that we fucked up. But now they're in the part of, we're asking for forgiveness because we're going back towards the other thing. Two separate things. Asking for forgiveness, admitting that they're fucking up. Showing that they might do something, and we are still like, well, I don't trust you still. I still don't believe that you're going to fix what you got, okay? But then they make the stuff, and if it does fix it, be like, all right, cool. You've done it. But you don't get applause or anything before that. You get people guarded going, I don't trust you. But they admitted, or they will admit that they fucked up, but they're also admitting we fucked up and now we're willing to fix it. Hopefully.
And people can still enjoy it if they want to. It happened in this alternate kind of thing, but we can go forward without it.
This is a once in a life.
Right? You don't want to sit there and be like, because what you don't want them to do anything? Are they not allowed to do anything? They should be able to allow to do something.
Where am I wrong there?
I mean, sort of. It's not that it still exists. It is eliminated, but it did exist,
right?
If you follow me. And I see people asking, would normies be able to follow this? I think it's largely irrelevant. Part of the reason that I think this is the direction that they're going is because Favreau said that his Season 4 scripts largely got ported into Ahsoka Season 2. We know that Ahsoka Season 2 is the final season of Ahsoka. We also know that it involves Baylan Skoll looking for another entrance into the world between worlds that involves the gods of Mortis.
Which could be that Ahsoka, to save the past, becomes the daughter of that realm.
This all ties into that.
Which you would know if you watched the past Clone Wars. You know what I'm saying? There's so much stuff that you have to watch to know what the fuck's going on, that if they do all this stuff, normies are going to be like, I don't understand what's going on.
So the shattering that's been referenced, I think, is something that does not occur all at once. I think that the world between worlds is breaking down.
Sure.
They have very little time to capitalize on it. I suspect that's what Season 2 is going to be about, is leveraging that to enable them to pull the Band-Aid or pull the pin on the grenade if that's what they've decided they need to do. I do think that for the last year, they have been trying to decide, what are we going to do? They have been trying to collect data. They have been running several different tests, I believe, to gauge impact and audience reception of certain things they've been doing. And my belief is that they have now made a decision. I don't think that they are getting public about that yet, but it's obvious that the marketing has shifted. It's obvious that the original trilogy characters are the only thing that is generating interest. They have to find a way to get back to that. There's only one way they can do it.
This is a money problem. You can't make movies. You can't make Star Wars movies for this amount.
Right.
This just, you can't do it. This is a 60 million 3-day, 80 million 4-day. You can't do it. And they're out of options. There is literally no way to continue doing the sequel trilogy and even the
You can, just you don't make it live action.
Mandoverse. The Mandoverse is done. People just want the original characters, and you desecrated the original characters. Marv, is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's very fair. I think that people always had an idea of where Star Wars was going to go, and it usually involved our heroes continuing to be heroes. I think it would be very ironic with how the sequel trilogy fans have, decried the original, what is now called the Legends timeline that spun into its own timeline. Now, if the sequel trilogy gets spun into its own named timeline now, that would be very ironic.
You could call it Legends.
Let me bring in two of our guests, and then we've got another one that I think...
Yeah, you could put it in Legends.
I think it's going to surprise a lot of people that I'm excited to bring on. But let's bring on two guests real quick.
All right. We're gonna stop it there. If you guys want to go watch the rest, there's about another 20 minutes left of this video. Links in the description down below. This is why I think that Star Wars, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, right? Because if you reset people are not buying anything except for old stuff. Right, we talked about this last week with the jerseys and stuff. They even got rid of the 7, 8, 9 in the random stuff because they didn't know if they were going to sell. So, like, if you're an old Star Wars fan, they're trying to win you back, right? Is it too little, too late? Maybe for some. Okay, for others, they're still trying to figure out what can we do to bring them back. Now, obviously, the big thing would be to get away completely from this Skywalker original trilogy type stuff, which they could do. Which they try to do, but for some reason, they keep going back to try to connect it to the original stuff. The Acolyte should have stayed, and I said this in the past, like over a year ago, should have been like 1,000 years in the future and not 100 years before, and then ruin stuff by bringing Yoda in and Mundi in, right? And just ruining their whole backstory, and then just changing it as you go. The new trilogy should have been like 1,000 years in the future. That way it could have been like tales of like Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader back in the thing, and you could have had your own story of stuff back in the old days and stuff like that of the Jedi. You could have had your whole other story, not connected to the thing, but they chose to connect these things to the original trilogy, right? I agree that we don't need all Star Wars things to be connected to Luke Skywalker. But if you're going to put anything near the original trilogy, well, then you have to connect it in some way, shape, or form, even by accident. Because just saying this X-Wing pilot flew with this person, you're like, oh, well, then he knows Luke, right? They always bring it back for whatever reason. This is why Old Republic, New Republic, whatever it is, you have to go as far away from the original trilogy. Now, if they're trying to win back the original trilogy, 4, 5, and 6 still exist today. I don't want a remake. I don't want a remaster of it. I don't want you to touch it. If you're trying to win the new clientele, the new kids, the young teens, the new adults that will be adults for the families one day, make it into anime. Make an anime of Star Wars. Shot for shot, bit for bit, exactly as is, and market it towards the new generation, right? That doesn't do anything in harm's way whatsoever. Hell, take the animation format of Star Wars that you have with the Clone Wars, redo the original trilogy again. Put it together. Make it towards where kids watch it and they go, oh, cool. And then maybe down the road they watch the old stuff, but they don't have to. But don't change the story. Keep the story the same. Keep everything the same. Just make it into a new format so the new people can watch it. That's it. Aku says 30. Reset Shattered Empire with the Warlords. Thrawn is part of one of the factions, similar to the good parts of the EU. Mara had to die in the current stuff, but is alive in the reset. They go on in this video talking about Mara and Timothy Zahn and how he owns. Obviously, Timothy owns Thrawn and whatever. I don't know what they paid. I don't know the contract stuff. They talk about some stuff in later in this podcast. The problem with that is Mara is another problem with that, right? I'll actually have to get it from Timothy Zahn to get the rights to it. Do they change up the character from what he did? Is she going to be in the new movie of the Starfighter? She could be. Who knows? Right? We thought she was going to be. We thought she was that one character in the last episode 9, the bounty hunter, by Carrie. What was her name? Carrie Fisher? No, not Carrie Fisher. Carrie. What was her name? She was an actress, but she had her own show. Can't think of her name. Anyway, she played that bounty hunter, which I don't know the name of. And we thought she was going to be Mara. We thought, oh, maybe that's going to be Rey's mom. No, of course. Was it Carrie Ann Moss? I don't think it was Carrie Ann Moss, was it? Hold on. Carrie Russell. Right? She played Zoro Bliss. Right? That other bounty hunter that Poe Dameron knew on that one planet. Right? We thought, oh, maybe that's Mara Jade. Hiding within the realms of the Empire or the First Order. I'm not sure. I don't think she's... Maybe she is? I don't think she is. No. I don't believe she is. Right? Obviously, I think they could bring Mara into it, Aku. And I agree with that. They should do something. If you want to bring people back without changing anything with the old trilogy... The Thrawn trilogy would be pretty fucking badass if they did it correctly. You would bring in a whole new slew of people if they did something like that. If I were Disney, if I couldn't build on the original trilogy, I probably would have camped out in the Clone Wars at least. No one likes when you retcon an almost perfect product. Right. Hence, look, I think the Clone Wars stuff is good. They could tell more stories within that Clone Wars stuff, which they technically are with the Maul series and the Bad Batch series, and there's a Clone Wars series, and there's I think there's one more in there, right? They've done a whole bunch of stuff Oh, the other one I'm thinking of is the season 7 of the Clone Wars. Ray says, "30, do you remember Bionicle, the amazing franchise with a deep lore, but too much lore, and the newcomers were confused?" I got a Bionicle. I don't. It sounds familiar. I gotta look it up. If I see a picture. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I don't know much about it. That's the Lego stuff, right? Is that what you're talking about? That's after I grew up and stuff, but I do know about that. Yeah. Is that what that is? Is that the Lego stuff? Yeah, the Lego thing. Okay. Argus says, "Give me Star Wars anime with the animators that are currently doing the Witch Hat." Okay. Altern says, "You can also do the show, the original trilogy, and you can also imagine the more expanded and detailed trilogy." Thirty grew up. When was that? I mean, I'm still grown up. More like the connects with the masks, Mike. I just think that I want Star Wars to continue, right? In some way, shape, or form. They completely ruin the brand. What does a company do, right? As Disney, what do you do where you completely fuck the brand, right? Let's just say this bombs, right? Let's just say there is no world between worlds. None of that happens. They just shit themselves. They're standing in the middle of the room. They're like, we don't know what to do with ourselves. What do? The brand is completely like diminishing value. Nobody wants to touch it, right? What do they do? What do you do as a business that you've completely destroyed a brand? Let's not even talk about Marvel, right? Just talk about Star Wars. Do they sell it off to somebody? Do they just keep it and do nothing with it for like a decade? 2 decades? What do? They got to figure out something. And if you can't do something with the original trilogy or rehash that stuff, you gotta try to do something. Altered says, "Say sorry, act as it didn't happen, and do not link what killed the franchise to any of the new projects." They have to like go far, far in the future, like far in the future. Like the funny part is, it's like the galaxy far, far away, yet they keep telling the same story within the first 60 years. Jason says, yes, you need to shelve it for like 10 years and just put out a good merchandise for the time. Put out good merchandise. The problem is the merchandise doesn't sell unless it's linked to something, you know? Argus says they have to start rebuilding the Jedi, moving from Cal Kestis games. Well, the problem is he's linked. He's linked to the Skywalker era. So you gotta just stop. You can't continue attaching things to the Skywalkers. The problem with Cal is that as he gets older, he's just the Ahsoka now. That's what's happening right now, right? There's actually rumors of him showing up. Or was in the past, anyway. They can stop doing Star Wars for like 5 years. I think they longer than that. Look at what's happening to Harry Potter right now, Altern. People are like, why are you rebooting Harry Potter? It's too soon. Just brainstorming. How can you bring everything back, especially since they also Warlord period of the Empire is great for content. Look, I'm for. Don't get me wrong. They made their bed and they're laying in it, and they should. Okay, but at the same time, I'm okay for forgiving them if they do something that's actually good. They haven't done anything good except Andor, and I haven't even watched Andor. Just talking about other people that watch Andor, but guess what? That's linked to the original trilogy. Okay, so it's like they have to do something. Can they bring it back? Can they do something to bring it back? You don't have to win over. You don't have to win over the old people anymore. You don't. I think that's kind of burnt. I think they're burnt, right? If they do something cool, like how many of you, honest to God now, if they did something which was nowhere connected to what we know of Star Wars, they go 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years into the future, okay? And they just start telling a story of Star Wars, in Star Wars, just the universe, a galaxy far, far away. Would any of you be interested in it? I think you would. I think if they did good storytelling, if they told a story completely separate, you would be interested as long as it's good. You'd be like, oh, you know what? This is a different Star Wars, but I like this. I mean, there's an MMO going on right now of the Old Republic. Has nothing to do. Has nothing to do. Jesse Max says, 30 Disney will never going to come out to us about the admit they fucked up. Oh, they're doing it right now. By doing it right now, Jesse, they're doing it. By putting the original series characters in the park is showing you they fucked up. 14 years they didn't put them in the park. Now they put them in the park. That's an admittance of fuck up. Altern says movie, series, or game. All of them. You could do anything as long as you just push it out. Get it away from the main timeline. The scene in episode 9 literally made me dead inside. Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. Like I have no interest in the Star Wars that they're selling us. Let me see. Look, hold on a second. Let me see if I could find this again. I'm telling you, this stuff right here. I don't really like this. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Like, you give me something like this. This is a short film from 11 years ago. Okay, from 11 years ago. I've shown this before, right? I've shown this before. This is a very like Voltron heavy metal vibe. Okay. Right? This is not AI. This is from 11 years ago. Someone animated this and did this on their own. Here, you know what? Let me mute it because you don't need to hear it. Just look at it. Right? Right? If you can get kids into this again, this would be a way to do it. Right? If you're a fan, you're a fan. You're going to watch the stuff if it's good. Right? But how do you bring in new people into the thing? You got to capture them what they like watching. Right? Like this is good stuff. This is cool. I'm 48 years old. I'm looking at this going, this is badass. I would watch this, right? Now, if you just took this kind of style, right? This type of style, okay? And you redid the originals, repackage them, again, shot for shot, don't change one freaking thing. Don't change the dialogue. Don't change anything. Take the movie, make it into something like this. Put it in the Clone Wars animation style. Blocky says, I like the current Star Wars. The Jedi games are really fun. Love 2 seasons of Mando. Andor rules. Maul show is fun. Can't wait for the Grogu movie. I'll be honest, and I'm not making fun of you in any way, shape, or form. You are in a small group of people right now. By proof of Star Wars changing. Proof on how Disney's changing, going back to what they were trying to do. Like what you like. I'm just letting you know you're in a small group and you're not making money for them. Hence why they're trying to go back to the bigger group that was making money for them. They're trying to get back the audience that made it a multi-billion-dollar business. They've ruined it in 14 years. And again, I'm not saying you specifically. The people that are interested in Star Wars today are making $0 for them. They're not watching it at the theaters. They're not going to buy the merchandise. They're not getting the toys. They're not getting the... nothing. Nothing. They're not going to the theme parks. They're not buying the merchandise. They're not getting the toys. They're not getting... Me. People my age and above were buying all the stuff. Introducing it to our kids and stuff. That's gone. It's gone. It used to be number one. It used to be the number one franchise in the world. Now it's 5. And slowly losing grip. Sliding down the mountain. Let me put this guy's video inside of our description. This is called... There it is. We watched the first 2 episodes of the Skeleton Crew, Blanky, with my son. My son was like, I'm bored. I was like, all right. I was actually open to it. I was like, yeah, let's watch it. Right? I try to never, ever be negative because I don't want my son to hate something because I dislike it, right? So I'm very, very cautious talking around him about stuff. Like, he watched 7, he watched 8. He talked about it with me. He's like, why is this happening? Why does this happen? Right? And he's asking questions. And when he asks questions, you're like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. But he's like, why? And I'm like, I don't know. That's what they decided to do. Right? Because I don't want to ruin it for him. Tara says, not only does it take place in a galaxy far, far away, but it seems that's where they took the franchise as well. True. It's very true. Yeah, I saw that, Jesse. It's $7.8 million. That's nothing. It's a drop, not even in a bucket. Right? But the problem is, which goes back to what we talked about last week with Sony and stuff, is that it's just a one thumbprint. It's just a one eye check. It's just a one check in, right? That's the bigger problem. Let's see. Is there any news? Did they come out with any news for Star Wars this morning? This afternoon? Anything? GameStop confirms $56 billion eBay acquisition bid, promises $2 billion in cuts at the company if the takeover is successful. Well, there you go. So GameStop will own eBay. Okay. Let's see. Anything else happening? What is this? Proof that even a full armor still doesn't out making ridiculous faces. Oh, it's Katie Sackhoff. I watch movies in general to the end, no matter how bad it is. What should I do to stop wasting my time? I mean, watching a film or a TV show or playing a video game, I always finish them regardless if they're good or bad, because you don't know if it's good or bad until you're done. Unless you know it's bad. Like if you're like, this is unbearable, I don't want to watch it anymore, then stop. Just don't watch it. I mean, you shouldn't waste your time. But if you're like, hey, you know what, I'm kind of enjoying this. There's a couple bad parts. There's a couple good parts. You know, is the pros outweigh the cons? Most of the time, pros outweigh the cons. In the 7, 8, 9, there was way more cons than pros. At least for me. Alton says, oh, wow. Now, when the people go to the store, they can say, hey, we can order it for you on eBay. That's right. Jason says, I never saw episode 9 and never will. It was funny. The other day we walked into Costco and they were showing a Ghostbusters clip of Ghostbusters 2016, which is the all-girl movie. I'd never seen it. So I saw it. I was like, I saw the people. I was like, is that I looked at my son. I was like, is that AI? And he's like, I don't know. Because he doesn't know what it is either. He's like, I don't know them. I was like, oh, I think that's the one that came out in 2016. He's like, there was a movie in 2016 of Ghostbusters? I was like, yes, there was. It never doesn't exist in my head. I was so confused. I was looked at it and I was like, what movie is that? Yeah, unfortunately there was. Eclipse says, I finally watched 9 like 2 years ago. I wish I did not. Yeah, it's bad. The horses on the top, the horses on the side of the Star Destroyer, peak. or the reasoning of, it's so hard to get to where the Emperor is, and yet the entire galaxy zips there with no problem. Amazing. The fact that you can have a Star Destroyer being built, one, but to have 1,000 on one planet built underground, where were they getting the supplies from? Was anyone shipping it to them? And if they were shipping it to them, was there no catalog or backlog of how they were getting to the actual location? Why did you have to have the map to know how to get there? Obviously, there had to be more than one person having the map, because there was thousands and thousands and thousands of supplies being delivered so they could build the fucking ships underground. Right? It makes no sense. Then to build it underground, then you had to dig underground to have a space where you're going to put all these Star Destroyers, right? Where's the digging machines? How did they dig all the stuff out? Where did they put all the stuff? There's so many questions to ask, and everyone's like, this is not important. It is important, because you have to have it based in reality. You can't just have it like just magically appear like, oh yeah, there's Star Destroyer. Because if you could, then why even build them in the first place? Oh yeah, the knife that was sent to the guy that he carved it. Let's just think about this for a second, Blocky. Right? Did they make that sword in that exact spot where she was standing when she held it up, and it was the thing, and she knew how to operate it, where it was like to the exact point. Go, that's where it is. Like, was he hammering it? Come back to that location, go hold it up, and go, it's close. Hold on, let me just mark this spot right here. All right, I'll come back, get in his ship, go back to his workshop, come back over here, hit it again. Yeah, that looks good. Like, it was so fucking stupid. So stupid. They're like, you know what it did? Goonies did that when he held up the thing and there was a rock there. It's a little easier to do that than it was because he literally was like, how do I going to recognize where I put my ship? There's a stone there. Here's the key. Right? It's like a MacGuffin to a MacGuffin to a MacGuffin. So there were so many bad things in that movie. How'd you get the lightsaber? That's a story for another time. All right, well, that's an important lightsaber. You might want to tell us, the fans that know the lightsaber that you have, how you got a hold of the lightsaber. Since the last time we saw that lightsaber is when he got his hand chopped off. Clip says, I understand movies don't need to make sense overall, but in the movie itself, it should. You got to understand. They had a map to get to a desert planet that they went underground, found the skeleton with the thing on him to go back to the other planet to find the exact spot to stand in so he can hold it up to the blown up Death Star. He got the lightsaber. Trust me, bro. There was just so many. Yeah, they combed the desert, and they did find shit. They never let anything breathe either, right? Like Chewie got taken. Rey's all like mad about it, and like 10 minutes later, they rescue him. Right? What race is all those people that are in the place where the Emperor is? How did they get there? Do they all have maps? Have they all been there the entire time? No one's ever left the planet. No one's entered the planet. They just miraculously just have all these supplies to make the stuff on that planet. They had this arena built there. All right. Ray almost killed Chewie too. That's crazy how Mel Brooks is still alive. Yeah, he's like 96. Is that what he is? He's up there, right? (1926) he was born. (99) Mel Brooks is 99 years old as of early 2026. Will he make it to the premiere of Spaceballs 2? Birthday's June 28th. So he'll be 100 years old by the time the movie comes out. All right. I think it's going to do it for me tonight or today. Yeah, I hope he does. I hope he makes it. And I hope it's a good movie. I do. He's producing it. He didn't write it. So, Josh Gax and I forget the other guy's name, wrote it. So, hopefully it's great. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully he can see it. We're in the afternoon. Well, someone's in darkness. I got one hair over here. That's old man problems. We'll be back tonight 8 p.m. Eastern over on 30 and Still Gaming. I don't know what I'm going to play. We might play some Marvel Rivals tonight. Play a little bit of that, maybe. If not, we'll go jump back into Crimson Desert because I haven't played that in about a week and a half. We'll be playing something. I appreciate it very much. You guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. If you'd like to support us in any other way, you can go check out the shop below with shirts, mugs. You can also check out Spotify, iHeart, Pandora. Look at our music that we have uploaded to iTunes. Appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day, evening, or night, wherever you are. And I'll see you guys tonight over on 30 and Still Gaming. And if I don't see you tonight, I'll see you tomorrow right here on the Daily Grind. Peace.
Booting up the day with a cup of tea, RGB lights smiling back at me. Got the tower humming, looking proper nice. Console lads crying, blimey, what's the price? Click of the mouse and we're off to the races. Screen so sharp you can see the faces. Oh, love, and the frame rate hits the stride. Feels like the whole UK's on my side. Oh, no frame cap's gonna hold us down. We're running this town. Sweet Lord, the power, the grace, that glorious PC crown. We're the PC master race. Gloriously smooth in a digital space. Boot it up, love, let the colors embrace. High-res dreams with impeccable taste. Raise your T, raise the bass. Cheers to the glorious PC master race. Plug in the headset, mates online, laughing at console dropping to 39. Mods on deck, got a world to bend, and the patches don't take till the weekend's in. Flip that switch, feel the British breeze. Mechanical keys, tapping melodies. Ultra settings look divine. It's tea time and game time. Oh, no wall gardens gonna clip our wings. We change everything. Dial it up with a bit more pace. Long live the glorious master race. We're the peace.